Author's preface. Every love story holds both sweetness and bitterness, just as every person's journey is filled with its own mix of joy and sorrow. This book, along with the series that accompanies it, does more than tell the love story between an idol like Thame and an ordinary person like Pa. It also explores the lives of people searching for their own paths and sense of self-worth, whether it's Thame and Pa themselves, or their bandmates June, Dylan, Nano, and Pepper. Society often defines happiness as achieving success in life, but is that truly where happiness is found? This book was written after all 13 episodes of the series had been completed. Some details have been condensed to create a unique experience for each medium. However, the core themes and main storyline remain unchanged. Adi Cha Tantananwa Cry. Chapter 1. Pa wasn't someone who followed the idol scene, whether it was girl groups or boy groups. He might enjoy some idol songs, but he had no idea who sang them. Whatever Spotify shuffled for him, he listened to. Whatever songs played often in restaurants or convenience stores, he could hum along with. He didn't like going to concerts because there were too many people, and getting there was a hassle. His connection with Mars, the #1 T-pop group, was limited to hearing their songs while making breakfast, seeing the 5 members on banners while riding the train, or spotting their standees outside convenience stores. The closest he ever got to them was through his best friend, Byfern, who was a hardcore Mars fan and the admin of the group's biggest fanbase, called Sphere. Bayfern's voice reached him before she even sat down across from him in a Scandinavian-style cafe. Mars is having a fan meet. Can you cover it for me? I just got a last-minute client event. Pa glared at his friend, annoyed that she hadn't even bothered to greet him properly. Sorry, let me try again. She stood up, took 3 steps back, then walked over at the same pace before greeting him again. Hey you, how's it going? You doing okay? Pa gave her a half-hearted smile. Byfern returned an equally forced one. There wasn't an ounce of sincerity in either exchange before she got straight to the point. Mars is having a fan meet. Can you cover it for me? I just got a last-minute client event. Wow. Thanks for giving me exactly 1 line of airtime and not even letting me answer. So, can you go or not? Well, I'll check my schedule. Don't pretend you're checking your schedule. You don't have a job. You can't fool me. But I don't like events like this. There are too many people. Just let me stay home and edit clips of those 5 monkeys instead. Monkeys? Who are you calling monkeys? Don't talk about my boys like that. Byfern grabbed a tissue from the table and smacked him on the head. My boys are adorable. All right. Okay, so you're going. This Sunday, Winter Hall, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. I want photos of them smiling and greeting the camera. Here's the ticket. She shoved it across the table. It's a little far away, but your camera is good enough. As the admin of the fanbase, I can't not have footage from this event. Got it. Well, before Pa could even answer, she transferred money into his account. Done. Deal closed. I've got to get back to work now. I'm so busy it's insane. I've sent the design draft to the client 3 times, and they've rejected it every single time. Agency life is so depressing. She gathered her things and glanced at the untouched croissant on Poe's plate. I'll take this. She stuffed it into her mouth and left. You didn't even ask if I'm doing okay? Pa called after her. Byfern replied through a mouthful of croissant. If you're not okay, go see a doctor. Pa sighed as he looked at the fan meet ticket lying on the table, printed with the faces of the 5 members, Thame, June, Dylan, Pepper, and Nano. That summed up his relationship with Mars. Chapter 2. Kun Pawat Nuanganan. Subject. Interview results for the assistant director position. Emmer Entertainment would like to thank Kun Pawat Nuanganan for taking the time to interview with us. After careful consideration of your qualifications, we regret to inform you that we are unable to offer you the position. However, we firmly believe that you will find a position better suited to your abilities. We wish you the very best in your future endeavors. HR Department. Emmer Entertainment. Ugh. A long sigh escaped Pa as he set his phone down on the long table covered with faded, patterned Casaro fabric. He looked around the old-fashioned suit shop, decorated in warm oak tones, where he worked part-time, feeling utterly defeated. This was the 23rd rejection email he had received. The prospect of landing a stable, full-time job seemed dimmer than a flickering light bulb on the verge of burning out. Still no luck finding a job? Uncle Choi, the 60-year-old owner of the shop, asked as he adjusted a suit on a mannequin. What happened this time? Didn't they seem interested in you? Maybe I didn't answer their question about the 3-year gap well enough. What did you tell them? I told them the truth about what I'd been doing. Uncle Choi gave him a disapproving look. What? Why are you looking at me like that? Pa asked. I don't want to lie. Isn't honesty important when people are going to work together? It is, Uncle Choi replied, holding a needle between his lips like the experienced tailor he was. But not for the kind of job you're trying to get. Pa fell silent, meeting Uncle Choi's gaze for a moment without understanding what he meant. Go get me some more pins, Uncle Choi said, dropping the subject. He went back to grumbling about food, his aching knees, and his worsening eyesight, while scolding Pa for bringing him thread in the wrong shade. Pa teased him back, joking that despite his failing vision, Uncle Choi still saw better than someone like him, who had perfectly good eyesight. Siam Suits, Uncle Choi's shop, was a family business passed down from his grandfather. In what was usually a 2-minute story, Uncle Choi would proudly tell anyone who would listen how his grandfather had sailed from Shantou on a junk boat with nothing but a pair of scissors before saving enough money to open a tailor shop. His father inherited the business, but if you stayed for another 3 hours, Uncle Choi would eventually get around to explaining how, after taking over, he became known as the most handsome tailor in town, with young women constantly visiting the shop. Pa had always doubted that part, considering the shop only made men's suits. The shop closed at 7 p.m. Pa pulled down the steel shutters and locked the glass door. Uncle Choi had been yawning non-stop since the afternoon. He often said that getting old made it hard to stay up late, though waking up early came naturally. Pa wouldn't know. He was still young and had been living like a night owl for the past 3 years. Back in college, his classmates had always said he had a bright future in production. He had excelled at design, editing, and graphics, even winning a short film competition. Right after graduation, he was recruited with a starting salary higher than most of his classmates. But after only 8 months on the job, he quit. Since then, he hadn't done anything significant. He hadn't gone back to school. He had no exciting stories about traveling abroad. He wasn't burdened by family responsibilities. Aside from helping Byfern manage the Mars fan base, Poe's life revolved around only 2 things: his part-time job at the suit shop, which took up very little of his time, and here, Phi Tile, the owner of the sandwich shop where Pa bought his meals every day, handed him 2 sandwiches. Pa hesitated, remembering that he had only ordered 1. Same as always, Phi Tile replied as though it were completely normal. For the past 3 years, Pa had always ordered 2 sandwiches, one with vegetables and bacon and another with tuna. But, before Pa could protest, Phi Tile cut him off. 120 baht. Pa reluctantly paid, wondering how he was supposed to finish 2 sandwiches. So how's the job hunt? Any luck? Phi Tile asked. Nothing yet. You know, these days you don't need a regular job. Start your own business instead. Pa looked up, expecting Phi Tile to start pitching him a sandwich franchise. Instead, he pulled out his phone. Look at this. He showed Pa a video of a young entrepreneur presenting a new feature for a video editing app that had become popular with teenagers. That's Earn, the founder of Earn Shop, Phi Tile explained. Pa blinked as he watched someone around his own age passionately introducing the app's latest features. Pretty amazing, isn't it? He graduated, poured everything into building this app, and raised millions in funding. The logo, the branding, everything is so well designed. Yeah, he struggled on his own for years, but look where he is now. He's releasing a how-to book soon. You should read it. It might inspire you. Sure. Thanks. I'll get going. Pa took the bag with the word loaf printed on the side, containing his 2 sandwiches, and left. Pa switched on the lights in his condo, set the sandwiches on the kitchen counter, and sat down. Phi Tile's words echoed in his mind. Earn built everything by himself. The room was filled with traces of Earn Shop, logo drafts, merchandise, clothes, mugs. Even the second tuna sandwich had once been Earn's favorite. For the past 3 years, Pa had devoted himself to Earn's success. He had helped design the logo, contributed to developing the app, and believed that Earn's future would become his future as well. But in the end, nothing connected to Earn had ever belonged to him. Chapter 3. Pa and Earn had known each other since their school days. Byfern had never been particularly fond of him. She used to say, "If my friend likes him, I'll turn a blind eye." Earn always told Pooh that he couldn't do it without him, that they would succeed together, and that Earn Shop would be the key to their future. Po quit his promising full-time job so Earn could devote himself completely to developing the app. He took care of everything else, doing the laundry, washing the dishes, and making sure there was always food on the table. Meanwhile, Earn spent nearly every day sitting in the same spot, completely focused on building the app. To support them, Po worked at a suit shop, earning just enough to cover their living expenses. The app brought in no income, but developing it cost a great deal of money. Sometimes, Po had to call his parents to borrow money. He kept careful records of every bot, promising to pay them back once Earn Shop became successful. After work, he would buy 2 sandwiches, one for himself and one for Earn, before returning to their apartment to help with whatever Earn needed. The day the app was finally completed, they hugged each other in celebration. That night, they drank beer together on the condo balcony, and Po imagined a bright future waiting for them. On the day Earn Shop launched, Earn invited numerous investors to a hotel ballroom. Dressed in a casual suit, he confidently presented the app and earned thunderous applause. The investors showed tremendous interest, and overnight, Earn became a millionaire. Standing among the audience, Po applauded with genuine pride. Then Earn announced to everyone that the success of Earn Shop was entirely the result of his own efforts. In that instant, Po felt as though every drop of moisture had been drained from his body. The applause echoed in his ears as he stared at the man on stage. Earn didn't have to thank him for cooking, cleaning, or supporting him through everyday life. But he could have at least mentioned that the app's design and several of its features had been Po's work. Instead, he said nothing. When they returned to the apartment, they had a fierce argument. Earn insisted he had done nothing wrong. He argued that he had created the app's most important components. Investors were investing in him as a talented developer, not in a capable team. But couldn't argue with that. He didn't understand how the business world worked. He had never cared about winning arguments or standing in the spotlight. He could have lived in Earn's shadow. But then Earn said they should break up because they were no longer the same. Po didn't understand what he meant. I'm on the verge of huge success, but you're not, Earn said. How could I tell anyone that my partner works part-time at a suit shop? People would only laugh at you. Po stood there, speechless. When 2 people are no longer on the same level, breaking up is the right thing to do. Earn packed up his belongings and walked out of the apartment that had been the foundation of his success. He took everything valuable Po had given him and left behind only the things he no longer wanted: ideas, old work, unfinished drafts, and Po himself. As Po collapsed onto the floor of the now empty room, surrounded by the remnants of Earn's presence, he made a promise to himself. Never again. Never again would he let someone like that into his life. Someone who would achieve success only to cast others aside without a second thought. Someone so selfish. Never again. Chapter 4. Thame, the leader of Mars, often said during interviews with his bandmates, I believe our success doesn't come from just one person, it comes from all of us. Each member has a different role in the band, and everyone does their part brilliantly. I'm always proud when people talk about our group, and I want to thank my bandmates for staying together through everything. We've been through so much since our debut, and now our schedules are busier than ever. Mars was currently the hottest group in the industry. They worked relentlessly, appearing everywhere, together at product launches, television shows, and fashion events, or individually across countless platforms. June was reportedly busy filming a drama series. Pepper was thriving as a television host. Nano had joined a dance competition program. Dylan was producing music for other artists. And Thame was balancing solo singles with performances at major national events. Mars had become the dream of a new generation and the benchmark that older idols looked back on with admiration. Any brand hoping to boost its sales wanted Mars as its ambassadors. Their fanbase grew larger every day, generating enormous value for Winter Entertainment, the record label that managed them. Mars had even surpassed Ice, who had once been the label's biggest star. People believed Mars could remain at the top for another 10 years. But those within the company knew that wasn't true. Dream to Mars. That was the title of the group's upcoming major concert, chosen by Kenpemika, the head of the label, during a meeting with the creative team. The concert was scheduled for 6 months later and would soon be officially announced. Everyone at the label worked tirelessly to prepare for it. They planned every detail: the stage design, lighting, costumes, the complete Mars set list, Thame's solo performances, fan interaction games, and the video content that would play on the giant screens. The only thing still missing was someone to film the behind-the-scenes documentary for the concert. Mick, the head of the creative department and Mars manager, volunteered to take care of it himself. It's a complicated job, he claimed. It needs someone with experience. Ming and Tae, his subordinates, exchanged knowing glances. They both knew it wasn't especially difficult. Mick was simply claiming the easiest assignment for himself, just as he always did. Most of his workday was spent yawning, hanging a do not disturb sign outside his small office, and sneaking in naps. He constantly complained about how exhausting it was to manage a group as famous as Mars, even though everyone knew the members practically managed themselves. Backstage, hairstylists made final adjustments to the members' hair. Some staff members handed them bottles of water, while others checked and adjusted their headset microphones. The 5 members of Mars were about to perform their hit song, All I Need. Each wore a sleek black outfit, with subtle differences that reflected their individual roles within the group. Thame, the lead vocalist, radiated a cool, composed presence. June, the supporting vocalist, carried a playful charm. Dylan, the rapper, projected an edgy, rebellious image. Pepper, the all-rounder, looked dependable and professional. Nano, the youngest member and main dancer, was bright, energetic, and undeniably adorable. The music thundered through the venue. The audience exploded into cheers as fan chants filled the arena. The 5 members of Mars stood together on stage, delivering a flawless performance. Thame's soaring high notes continued to captivate the crowd. Fans shouted each member's name without stopping. As they stood on stage, catching their breath and soaking in the audience's energy, one chant rose above all the others. OT5, 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 a promise that Mars would always remain a 5-member group. But deep down, every one of them knew the truth. The upcoming Dream to Mars concert wasn't meant to celebrate Mars' future as a 5-member group, nor was it meant to reinforce the image Thame had always presented during interviews. It was meant to announce the end of Mars. The group's success had opened the door for Thame, their leader, to debut in Korea. He was about to leave his 4 bandmates behind. The others would each have to go their separate ways and begin the next chapter of their lives. Chapter 5. Pa had once sworn that he would never again let someone like Earn into his life. Someone who, after tasting even a little success, would leave everyone else behind without a second thought. Someone who never considered how deeply they hurt the people who had always stood by them. He never imagined he would meet someone like that again. Until now. Byfern burst into the suit shop and slapped a resume down in front of Pa. I've got a new job for you. The perfect one. One of my clients told me they're short-staffed, and I think you're exactly what they're looking for. I even rewrote your resume and sent it to them. Here. She pushed the paper toward him. Pa leaned over to read it. His name, education, and work history were neatly listed. There was no mention of the 3-year gap in his career. Instead, it claimed he had spent those years working in fashion. Fashion? Pa frowned. What fashion are you talking about? This. She threw both hands toward the aging suit shop where he worked. What's not fashionable about this? It's totally fashion. That's not the same thing, he protested. And why did you go through all the trouble of rewriting my resume? Because this job is seriously worth it. Trust me, I want to see you finally become the director you've always dreamed of being. Pa looked over the resume again, confusion written all over his face. And what's this about a video project with over 1 million views? When did I ever do that? Why wouldn't you have? Byfern replied. You made videos for my base studio, and they got plenty of views. Does that even count? Oh, come on. She folded her arms. Do you want the job or not? If I hadn't written it like this, do you think they'd hire you? What was I supposed to put instead? That your greatest achievements were buying food for your ex and designing his logo so he could become successful. Pa flinched. Byfern softened only slightly before continuing. Pa, I really want you to get a good job this time. Your work was never mediocre, okay? You just got screwed over by Earn. This is your chance to become a director. I want you to start over, move forward, and make Earn regret ever leaving you. Show him how stupid he was. But writing it like this isn't exactly honest. It'll get you the job. Pa hesitated. Uncle Choi, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke. If you get hired and do the job well, if you earn every baht they pay you, then it's fine, Pa. Do you think you can do it? Pa knew he would give it everything he had. If you still feel guilty, ask for a lower salary, Byfern suggested. But you need a starting point. You have to start doing something for yourself. She wasn't wrong. After thinking for a moment, Pa asked, "What kind of directing job is it?" Pa found himself sitting across from Mick. He never imagined that when Byfern said, "For yourself," she had also meant for herself. The position she had been talking about was directing a behind-the-scenes documentary for Mars. Of course, it all made sense. Byfern worked at an agency, and Winter Entertainment, one of the country's largest artist management companies, was one of her regular clients. It would have been easy for her to hear about the opening while talking with someone there. Helping Pa land the job also meant she could gain access to insider information. Mick skimmed through Poe's resume and asked only a handful of important questions. The one thing he cared about most was how familiar Poe was with Mars. Pa answered that he knew the group fairly well, carefully avoiding any mention of helping run Byfern's fanbase. Byfern had specifically warned him not to bring it up. Winter Entertainment was notoriously strict about fans trying to get hired just to get close to their artists. The truth was, Pa wasn't even a Mars fan. Byfern was. "If your portfolio is really as good as it looks," Mick said, "and you're definitely not some fan trying to sneak in, then I guess I've got no reason not to hire you." Pa could hardly believe he had gotten the job, even if he wasn't entirely comfortable with how he'd earned it. Mick took him to have his employee ID made. It was the first employee ID Pa had held in 3 years. He stared at it for a long moment, unable to hide the pride welling up inside him. He couldn't believe he now worked at Winter Entertainment. The company occupied an entire building, with separate floors for trainee development, artists, accounting, legal affairs, management, music production, creative teams, and even recreation areas. It also housed radio and television studios. Mick handed Pa a camera and told him to start immediately. He added that if the job required travel, Pa could use one of the company's vehicles, assuming he knew how to drive. "I can manage," Pa replied. "I used to drive my mom to the market back when I lived at home." "Start right away?" Pa asked uncertainly. "That's right," Mick said. "Your job is to document the members from now until their final concert, just before Mars disbands. Thame, the leader, has been given the opportunity to debut in Korea, so it can't be helped. The group has to break up." Pa froze. Without realizing it, his eyes drifted to a poster of Thame hanging on the department wall. "That's just how this business works," Mick continued casually. "A group is just a stepping stone for someone to become famous. It just so happens that Thame is the one who made it. He made the right choice by leaving. And the others?" Pa asked before he could stop himself. Mick answered without hesitation. "They're the ones being left behind." Chapter 6. Pa didn't know how he was supposed to tell Byfern that her beloved Mars wasn't preparing for another 3 or 5 years together. Then again, Byfern wasn't the type to pry into company secrets. She would always say it wasn't appropriate. The only things she wanted to know were the boys cute? What were they really like? Did they care about each other as much as they seemed to? Even so, Pa couldn't bring himself to tell her the truth. Because Pa held his camera and stepped into the dressing room. From the very first moment, he could tell that Mars wasn't as united as they appeared on stage. Backstage, the divide was obvious. Thame stood on one side. The other 4 members stayed together on the other. Thame was surrounded by people. Makeup artists, hairstylists, wardrobe assistants, and even the stage manager briefing him on his cues all crowded around him. Meanwhile, the other 4 members sat together with no one attending to them. June lounged on the sofa, playing a game on his phone. Dylan sat with headphones on, completely absorbed in his own world. Pepper quietly read the script for another project. Nano danced along to another artist's song. "Start by interviewing Thame," Mick instructed. "He's leaving for Korea in a few days." He pointed toward the other members. "And keep an eye on them too. I'm swamped." With that, he yawned, wandered over to an empty sofa, and lay down for a nap. Pa frowned slightly, wondering what Mick actually did besides sleep. A coworker patted him on the shoulder. "You'll get used to it." Pa turned to see a confident woman about his own age. "I'm Ming, and this is Tae," she said, introducing another colleague, a laid-back man wearing glasses. "The boys are filming a promotional show and should be finished by 7 p.m. Make sure you get Thame's interview done. Do you have the interview script?" Not yet." "Of course you don't." Ming glanced toward Mick, who was already snoring. "Don't worry," Tae said cheerfully. "I'll send it over. Give me your email." He handed Pa his phone. We're going to coordinate with the production team. In the meantime, you can get to know the boys or do some casual interviews. They're not the shy type. As they walked away, Po overheard Ming and Thame muttering about dumping water on Mick to wake him up. Po approached the four members and introduced himself. They greeted him politely, but before anyone could continue the conversation, a staff member called out, "Thame's ready. Everyone, let's move." The four members excused themselves and walked past Po toward Thame. Only then did Po notice how much distance there was between Thame and the rest of the group. "Can I get some water?" Thame's voice rang out, and the staff immediately rushed to find him a bottle. Po spotted an unopened bottle nearby and picked it up before carrying it over. Thame looked at Po, then at the employee ID hanging around his neck, then back at Po. He made no move to accept the bottle. "Who told you to bring me this?" Po froze. Before he could answer, Ming hurried over carrying a bottle of mineral water. "Sorry, Thame. He's new, so he didn't know. Here's yours." Thame accepted the mineral water and took a drink. As he walked away, he shot Po an irritated look and muttered, "Maybe they should screen people more carefully." Po knew things were already off to a terrible start. At exactly 7 p.m., Po finished setting up his camera. He didn't have a tripod, so he'd have to hold it himself, but he didn't mind. He was determined to finish Thame's interview. Po carefully read through the script several times, making sure he wouldn't make any mistakes, especially since Thame already seemed to dislike him, even if it was simply because he was a perfectionist. By 7:30, Thame still hadn't shown up. Po texted Tay to ask whether Thame was still busy. Tay replied that Thame had left some time ago and had been told to meet Po, but the room remained empty. Thame never appeared. Po had no way to contact him directly since he didn't have his number. When he messaged Mick, Mick didn't even bother reading it. Figures. Someone like him, who was always the star, got whatever he wanted. Everyone bent over backward to accommodate him. He didn't care how much trouble he caused other people because he was too important. He didn't even care about leaving his own bandmates behind to chase greater success. So why should Po expect him to care about anyone else? At 8:15 p.m., Thame finally walked into the room. He had changed out of his stage outfit and was now wearing a comfortable tracksuit and loose-fitting pants. He sat down in front of the camera. Po quickly lifted it into position and began recording. "Good evening, Thame. Let's get this over with." Thame interrupted before Po could even finish introducing himself. Po took a slow breath, swallowing his irritation, and started the interview. Camera rolling. He glanced at the script. "Could you tell us a little about your bandmates?" Thame looked toward the camera, but said nothing. Instead, his gaze drifted past the lens and settled on Po. Po hesitated before asking again. "Could you tell us about your bandmates?" Thame remained silent, still staring at him. "Thame, didn't you say you wanted to finish this quickly?" "When I said I wanted to finish quickly," Thame replied, "I wasn't talking about this interview." Po frowned, unsure what he meant. The fan meeting at Winter Hall. A faint smile tugged at the corner of Thame's mouth. "You were standing by the exit before I got into the car." Po's stomach sank. Right. Byfern had asked him to film Mars that day. He had been standing exactly where Thame described. "You're a fan who snuck in by pretending to be staff, aren't you?" Chapter 7. Thame adjusted himself in his chair before speaking. "That day, there were cameras everywhere, and one of them captured you. It's proof that you're a fan who snuck in here as a staff member. So you have two choices. Either you resign on your own." He pulled a flash drive from his pocket. "Or I'll give this footage to Kenpemika and have you fired." Po finally realized what Thame had been doing during the hour and 15 minutes he'd kept him waiting. He'd been gathering evidence to get rid of him. "Thame, listen to me. It's not what you think." "Then who was that person if it wasn't you?" Thame stepped closer. "How much information have you collected about my band?" "Thame, it's really not like that. I can explain. I'm not a fan. I swear. I don't think you need to explain it to me. You can explain it to Kenpemika." Thame took the camera from Po's hands. Po stared at his empty hands before looking back at Thame, who gestured for his employee ID. Was he really about to lose his job because of someone like this? "Hand it over," Thame said. "I won't let a say-seeing like you drag my band's name through the mud. I didn't build this group just so someone like you could ruin it." Po froze at those last words. "What are you staring at?" Thame asked. "It's funny," Po replied. Thame frowned. "You keep saying you don't want the band's name ruined. You say you didn't build this group for someone like me to destroy it." Po looked him straight in the eye. "But you're the one destroying it, aren't you?" "What did you just say?" Don't pretend you're protecting the band's reputation. You're just protecting your own. You're afraid people will find out how selfish you really are. Po's voice grew sharper. You're the kind of person who, the moment you become more successful than everyone else, stops seeing that the people you've left behind have feelings too. You don't care what happens to them. You're just a selfish person who values your own success more than the people who walked the same road with you. Po knew that kind of person better than anyone. Thame was no different from Ern, and the other 4 members were no different from him. Left behind. Abandoned. Eventually swallowed by the world. Even if they somehow managed to stand up again, people like Thame would only push them back down. Tell me honestly, Po continued. How could you do it? How could you leave behind the people who've been by your side for years, move forward on your own, and never once think about everything they've done for you? Do you even realize how much it makes the people you abandon question why they ever spent so many years with you in the first place? He delivered the final blow. You're unbelievably selfish. You have no right to say that when you don't know anything about me. Oh, I know exactly what kind of person you are. Po's voice was quiet. And I know exactly how much it hurts to be the one who's left behind. And do you think the one who leaves doesn't suffer too? Thame's voice cracked. Tears threatened to spill from his eyes. Do you think it's been easy for me to get this far? Of course it's easier for everyone to understand the pain of the people left behind. He clenched his fists. But the person who has to leave. His voice trembled. They hurt just as much. With that, Thame turned and walked away, leaving Po standing there, unable to say a word. Po stood silently at his desk. He had no camera, no employee ID, nothing. A message from Byfern popped up on his phone. How was your first day? Anything exciting? Did you meet the Mars members? Are they as charming in person as they are on screen? Are they really close? Did you meet Pepper yet? Po couldn't answer any of her questions. The only thing occupying his mind was what Thame had said before walking away. Hey, Po said when he called Byfern. Can you tell me, how much does it hurt to be the one who leaves someone behind? What are you talking about? Byfern asked. Did Ern contact you? No, it's not about him. Someone said it, and now I can't stop thinking about it. I wouldn't know, Byfern admitted. But if you're really that curious, why don't you ask the person who said it? I'm sure they'd know the answer. Po lowered his eyes. She was right. If he wanted to understand, he should ask the person directly. By the way, Byfern asked, who said it? Po didn't answer. Instead, he went looking for Thame. He searched the rehearsal rooms, the parking garage, and the employee lounge. Thame was nowhere to be found. Then Po noticed that the fire exit door was standing open. He followed the stairwell up to the rooftop. The Bangkok skyline stretched out in every direction. The city lights shimmered like a sea of soft bokeh. There, standing alone, was Thame. He was holding both Po's camera and his employee ID. On the camera's screen, he was watching the footage Pa had filmed earlier that day of the other 4 members during their break. June, Dylan, Pepper, Nano. Each moment had been captured with quiet care. A small smile appeared on Thame's face. It was soft, unforced, nothing like the guarded expression Pa had seen all day. His eyes glistened. Then tears quietly rolled down his cheeks as Nano's laughter echoed from the camera's speaker. The sound of Po's footsteps made Thame look up. He quickly wiped away his tears and turned toward him. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Po said. Thame cut him off. Tell me honestly. He looked straight at Po. Are you a fan or a saying? Neither. I did a favor for a fan once, and I went to one of your events because of that. But it was only once. I honestly didn't think you'd remember me. Thame looked away. You're different. Po blinked. Different how? That day, everyone else was filming. Thame paused. You were the only one who wasn't holding up a camera. Po thought back to that day. It was true. Although he had gone to film the event for Byfern, when the members finally came into view, he had lowered his camera so he could lift a younger fan beside him, giving them a better view instead. Right, but I'm really not a fan. And I'm definitely not a saying. Then keep working. Without another word, Thame handed Po back his camera and employee ID. Po stared at them in disbelief. Only moments ago, Thame had been ready to have him fired. What? You're good at your job. A faint smile crossed Thame's face. It carried a quiet sense of admiration that caught Po completely off guard. He couldn't understand this man. Was this really the same person who had glared at him over a bottle of water? The same person who had quietly cried beneath the city lights only moments earlier? If I'm going to keep working here, Po said, meeting Thame's eyes. Then the person I want to understand most is you. He held Thame's gaze. Who are you, really? Thame looked back at him, his expression impossible to read. If it's only for work, he said quietly, you don't need to know. He turned to leave, but Per reached out, caught his arm, and asked, what if it's not just for work? He looked straight at Thame. Then, can I get to know you? Chapter 8. So, you didn't get any footage of Thame yesterday? Mick glared at Pa from across his desk. Pa lowered his head, bracing himself for the inevitable scolding. No, I didn't. You're making me look bad. You know that? Mick let out an exaggerated sigh. I hired you because I thought you could handle this, and now look at us. Thame's leaving for Korea soon. If we don't get the footage now, what are we supposed to use for the documentary? Can you imagine how disappointed Pemmica will be? He continued complaining before ending with a pointed question. So what's your excuse? You had time with Thame, didn't you? I don't even know him yet. How could I possibly get good footage? Oh, pup. Mick leaned back in his chair. You don't need to know someone like Thame to get good footage. He knows exactly what to do and what not to do. He knows what he can say and what he can't. Yesterday, for example, when you handed him the wrong bottle of water, he knew better than to accept it. Huh. Pa blinked. He was surprised that Mick had noticed despite looking asleep the entire time. But Mick's explanation surprised him even more. He refused it because he can't be seen holding another brand. Thame is the ambassador for a bottled water company. The only water he can hold or drink in public is theirs. I thought he was just being difficult. Thame. Mick chuckled. He's just incredibly professional. That's why I told you you'd get exactly the footage you need from him. He'll deliver every line perfectly. He paused. Even if you don't know him at all. So, everything Thame says in interviews. If I didn't write the script, Ming or Tae did. Pa blinked as everything suddenly made sense. No wonder Thame had said Pa didn't need to know the real him to do his job. Clang. A can of soda dropped from the vending machine in the break area on the 19th floor of Winter Entertainment. Pa stood there, replaying the two completely different versions of Thame he'd seen. The seemingly arrogant, untouchable idol backstage, surrounded by staff and standing apart from his bandmates. And the lonely man on the rooftop, silently crying as he watched videos of his friends laughing. The same man who had asked, don't you think the person who has to leave hurts too? Determined to understand him, Pa returned to the creative department and asked Ming and Tae for old footage of Mars, explaining that it was for the documentary. Without questioning him, they handed everything over. Before his next meeting with Thame, Pa immersed himself in the group's early years. He wanted to discover who Thame had been before the endorsements, before the company's expectations, before the crushing weight of responsibility. He watched old videos of Thame joking with the other members. He watched their candid, unguarded moments. He caught glimpses of the house where all 5 of them had once lived together. Curious, Pa asked Ming and Tae about their old dorm. They handed him the keys, saying no one lived there anymore, and suggested he film the place for the documentary. Pa decided to go. The Mars dorm was a 2-story house about 20 minutes from the company. Downstairs were a living room, a kitchen, and a small garden where they used to hold parties and film content. Upstairs were 2 bedrooms. One had belonged to Thame and Dylan. The other had been shared by June, Pepper, and Nano. Pa carefully looked around the living room. Old Mars albums were still there. Fanlight sticks. Fan art. In one corner stood a small orange tree decorated with handwritten wishes hanging from its branches. Pa called by Fern and asked whether there was anything he should look for if he wanted to understand Mars better. She immediately mentioned a shared diary. Back when they were trainees, their phones had been confiscated while they trained relentlessly, so the 5 members had written messages to one another in a notebook instead. Pa eventually found it on a bookshelf. Inside were handwritten entries from all 5 members. Complaints about strict dance instructors. Comments about always being hungry. Words of encouragement. Silly doodles. Promises that they would stay together forever. As the pages went on, however, the tone gradually changed. There were entries about missing Thame because he had become too busy to return to the dorm. On the final page, someone had drawn the Mars logo. It had been crossed out. Beneath it, someone had written, Thame and Friends. Applause filled the studio as Thame completed the final take of a commercial shoot. Thank you, everyone. He bowed politely to the production staff before heading to the dressing room to change. A staff member reminded him that he still needed to finish the documentary interview he had missed the previous day. Thame nodded. As he walked away, he found himself thinking about his conversation with Pooh on the rooftop the night before. It was strange. At the fan meeting in Winter Hall, Pooh had stood out not because of what he had done, but because of what he hadn't done. While everyone else kept their cameras raised, Pooh had lowered his. It was as though seeing the moment with his own eyes had mattered more than capturing it through a lens. For some reason, Thame felt that someone like that might be able to capture the true selves of his bandmates better than anyone else. After changing into more comfortable clothes, he asked where he was supposed to meet Pooh. When he entered the rehearsal room, Pooh was already there setting up the camera. About last night, Thame began. Sorry, Pooh interrupted quickly. What I said was weird. When I said I wanted to get to know you outside of work, I didn't mean anything strange. What do you mean by strange? Thame raised an eyebrow. I just meant. Pooh scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. When you said it hurt to leave, I wanted to understand what that pain feels like. Oh, if you're comfortable talking about it, Pooh added. Thame was quiet for a moment before changing the subject. Should we start the interview? Sure. Pooh stepped behind the camera. Let's begin with your bandmates. Could you tell us about them? I'll start with Nano, our youngest. A faint smile appeared on Thame's face as he looked into the camera. He's always cheerful and full of energy. Stay that way, okay? And eat more so you can grow stronger. He continued. Pepper, I hope you become a successful host. It's what you've wanted for so long, and you're really good at it. Dylan, you're going to write so many incredible songs. Everything you compose is amazing. I know you'll become a famous producer one day. And June, acting won't be an easy path, but with how hard you work, I know you'll make it. Hold on. Pooh stopped the recording. Thame looked up. Did I say something wrong? No. It's just. Pooh hesitated. You're following the script too closely. Do you want me to improvise? No. He searched for the right words. I don't know what you really feel. Thame fell silent, his eyes fixed on Pooh. If I don't follow the script, he said quietly, it's only going to make things harder for you. Thame. Pooh frowned. Doesn't any of this bother you? Everything you're doing? Thame stiffened. No one had ever asked him that before. Can't we just finish the interview? His voice wasn't angry. It sounded strained, confused, filled with emotions he had kept buried for a long time. But I'm making a documentary, Pooh replied. And documentaries need the truth. You work for Winner. Thame looked away. The truth isn't what they want. And what about you? Pooh asked gently. Don't you want to be honest with your friends? Don't you want them to know how much it hurts to leave? He glanced down at the script. None of this says anything about your pain. It only says this is the right decision. That everyone's happy. He looked back at Thame. But that's not the truth. You're hurting. And what would be the point of telling them? Thame's voice trembled. What would it change? If saying it meant I didn't have to leave. He swallowed. I'd say it. His eyes lowered. But it wouldn't change anything. So, Pooh asked softly, you don't want to go? Thame's voice shook as he answered. No. He closed his eyes. I don't. Chapter 9. Thame had never wanted to leave his friends behind. From the very first day he was appointed the leader of Mars, he made himself a promise. If we rise together. If one of us has to fall, let it be me alone. Mars debuted with their first album. The sales were disappointing. They attracted only a small fan base, and no matter how many events they attended, they never reached the level of popularity the company had hoped for. Winter Entertainment's investment in Mars had resulted in heavy losses. Pemmica called Thame in to discuss the group's future. Thame told her that he wanted Mars to continue. He wanted them to release a second album, using songs the members had written themselves. Pemmica had another idea. She wanted Thame to debut as a solo artist first. I'm not ready to go solo, Thame said firmly. I want the band to succeed first. After that, I'll think about it. Thame, the band isn't going anywhere. Can't you see that? Pemmica spoke in her usual calm, measured tone. She never shouted. She never lost her temper. She wasn't like boiling water. She was ice, cold, controlled, and capable of freezing everything in her path. But if I go solo, your popularity will bring attention back to the group. Pemmica interrupted before he could finish. Mars needs a focal point, someone who draws people in. You're that person. As the main vocalist, only you can do it. Can I refuse? I don't want us to end up like Ice's group. He was referring to the older group that had eventually disbanded, leaving only Ice to shine as a solo artist. This isn't the same situation, Pemmica replied evenly. If you want Mars to survive, there's no other choice. Do you expect me to invest in another Mars album just to lose more money? She slid a document onto the table. When the numbers justify the investment, I'll consider another Mars project. If you can bring those numbers back up, we'll talk about the group again. How much? Thame asked. Pemmica pushed the financial report toward him. I know all of you have songs you want to release, she said, but they'll have to wait until the numbers recover. You aren't just dangling a carrot in front of me, are you? I didn't create Mars just to destroy it. Her voice remained calm. I created it to take it as far as it could go. She looked directly at him. And my plan for Mars is you. A brief silence followed. The question is, she folded her hands together. Are you willing to do this for your friends? Thame thought about it for a long time before finally agreeing. Thame's first solo single became an unprecedented success. His voice topped every music chart in the country. Almost overnight, he became a star. Pemmica kept her promise. Winter produced Mars' second album, and it launched the group into stardom. Their popularity exploded. June began receiving offers to act in television dramas. Pepper became a rising star on variety shows and quickly gained recognition as a talented host. Nano's dancing earned him invitations to perform as a guest and serve as a judge on dance programs. Dylan began training as a music producer and contributed songs for other Winter artists. Meanwhile, Thame balanced his solo career with his responsibilities to Mars. Endorsement offers poured in. Some campaigns featured the entire group. Most wanted only Thame. Can I just accept the group endorsements? Thame asked before signing another contract. Don't turn opportunities away, Thame. Pemmica advised. Everything you accomplish, everything your name is attached to, benefits Mars. She gave him a meaningful look. It all goes toward paying back the group's debt. So Thame signed. As his fame continued to grow, brands began requesting separate stylists and makeup artists exclusively for him. He attended more solo events than anyone else in the group. His schedule grew busier and busier. Thame's success carried Mars through another year. Eventually, he believed he had finally repaid everything the group owed. He brought one of the songs the members had written to Pemmica's office, hoping they could finally move forward. I want Mars to release another album, he said. We've already written one of the songs. Thame. Pemmica looked at him calmly. Mars isn't releasing any new songs. But I've already revised the. Mars isn't releasing anything new. What do you mean? He stared at her. Haven't I already paid back the group's debt? We've received a better offer. Pemmica slid a business card across the desk. It belonged to a Korean entertainment company. They want you to debut with them. Thame froze. He stared at the card in disbelief. I'm not going. His voice was immediate and unwavering. Everything I've done wasn't for this. He held up the lyric sheet he had brought. I did it for Mars. I know. Pemmica's expression didn't change. You've done everything for the group. You've led them every step of the way. She paused. But have you ever looked back to see what happened while you were leading them forward? She watched him carefully. Have you gone back to the dorm recently? Thame's expression faltered. No one has been living there for quite some time. He hadn't known. He hadn't returned to the dorm in ages. His life had become nothing but work. Mick had arranged for him to stay in hotels near filming locations. Whenever he did stop by the dorm, he never questioned why Dylan's bed was empty. He simply assumed Dylan was working late in the studio. The house was always messy. He thought everyone was just asleep. Have you heard your friends complain about how their schedules revolve around yours? Pemmica asked. Some of them have had to turn down personal opportunities just to accommodate your calendar. Thame hadn't known that either. You've helped Mars become successful, Pemmica continued. You made June famous enough to receive acting offers. Dylan is now respected as both a rapper and a producer. Nano has established himself as a dancer. Pepper is becoming an outstanding host. She looked at him steadily. As their leader, you've helped your friends move forward. She glanced at the lyric sheet in his hand. But are you going to pull them back into the past? Back into your dream? Back into this song you're holding? Thame lowered his eyes. He couldn't find a single word to say. Thame. Pemmica leaned against her desk and crossed her arms. Keeping Mars together won't help anyone anymore. It will only keep your friends tied to your dream, when they've already found dreams of their own. She gave him one last question. Think carefully. Would continuing Mars bring everyone happiness? Or would it only cause more pain? Thame felt his stomach tighten. Everything she said struck him with a painful truth he had never allowed himself to see. He had spent all this time charging forward, believing he was fulfilling the promise he had made to his friends. He never noticed the cracks forming behind him. Perhaps the dream they once shared had already changed. "Don't be so stubborn, Thame," Pemmica said gently. "Set your friends free from Mars." Chapter 10. Pa never imagined that he would one day bring the country's biggest idol to Uncle Choi's suit shop. After Pa told Thame that the documentary should capture what he truly wanted to say to his bandmates, whether or not it matched the company's expectations or was ever released, Thame had agreed. But just as they were about to begin filming, Uncle Choi called. He needed to run an errand and asked Pa to watch the shop. So the interview ended up taking place in the small neighborhood tailor shop. Pa introduced Thame to Uncle Choi. The older man simply remarked that Thame looked familiar before heading out. "Couldn't you just tell your friends all of this directly?" Pa asked as he handed Thame a bottle of water from the small refrigerator. "I wouldn't know what to say." Thame leaned back in his chair. "June looked happy that I was leaving. Dylan was so angry that he threw a hard drive at me. Nano hasn't spoken to me since. And Pepper." He paused. Honestly, Pepper looked relieved. He let out a quiet sigh. When everyone reacted like that, I couldn't find the words anymore. His fingers tightened slightly around the bottle. "So I figured, if people believe Mars broke up because I'm difficult, or because I'm a jerk," he gave a small, bitter smile, "then at least no one will blame my friends for not being good enough." Pa nodded quietly. Thame turned toward him. "Do you really understand?" "Yeah." Pa met his eyes. "I do. Is it what you imagined?" "Huh. Yesterday." Thame smiled faintly. "You said you wanted to understand." "Oh." Pa remembered their conversation on the rooftop. "Why do you want to understand so badly?" Thame asked casually as he leaned against the wall. "Did someone leave you behind?" What?" Pa stiffened. "In the interview room, you got angry at me." Thame watched him carefully. "You were speaking on behalf of my friends, weren't you? You understood what it felt like to be left behind." Pa slowly nodded. "Yeah. But my situation isn't really the same as yours." "Not at all. Do you want to tell me about it?" Pa looked up. "You want to hear it? You listen to me." A faint smile returned to Thame's face. "So it's only fair." Pa told him everything. About Ern. About spending 3 years without a proper job while taking care of Ern's everyday life. About helping design the logo and contributing to the app without receiving any recognition. About the day Ern broke up with him, because he was just someone who worked part-time at a suit shop. When he finished, Thame raised an eyebrow. "But I think the work you were doing was pretty impressive." Pa blinked. "Really? I mean it." Thame nodded. "It doesn't surprise me anymore that you're so invested in this documentary." He glanced around the tailor shop. "The way you repair suits says a lot about you." Pa tilted his head. "What do you mean?" "The attention to detail." Perhaps he meant the meticulous craftsmanship Pa had learned from Uncle Choi. Every stitch mattered. Every detail had to be perfect. "Thank you." Pa smiled awkwardly. "No." Thame shook his head. "I'm the one who should thank you." His expression became sincere. "You're not making this documentary just because it's your job. It means a lot to me." He lowered his eyes. "I'm supposed to be the leader, but I couldn't do what you're doing. I failed." "No." Pa answered immediately. "You didn't fail." He looked at Thame with certainty. "You're not a bad leader. You did everything you could for your band." Thame lowered his head. Poe's words humbled him. "But," Pa continued, "there's something I want to tell you." "What is it?" "When you said no one was there anymore." Pa smiled. "I'm not sure that's true." Thame looked up. "I went to the Mars dorm. The house was clean. And that orange tree in the middle of the yard. It's still alive. It's even bearing fruit." Thame stared at him. "Really? That orange tree?" Nano had brought it to the dorm when they first moved in together. Thame remembered the day vividly. June had immediately complained that taking care of a tree sounded like too much work. Dylan had laughed and pointed out that June never took care of anything anyway. Pepper looked alarmed when Dylan suggested he should be the one responsible, assuming Nano would naturally look after it himself. Instead, Nano simply smiled, nodded, and handed Pepper a care guide for the tree. When they asked why he wanted it there, Nano had answered, "I want it to be the heart of our home. I want everyone to write their wishes on it. Promises for Mars. Then we'll watch them all come true." Dylan had written, "I want to write songs for Mars that top every music chart." June had written, "If we ever top the charts, I'll treat everyone to hot pot." Pepper had written, I hope we love each other more and stay together forever. Nano had written, I'll create the most amazing choreography for our songs. And Thame had written, I'll make everyone's dreams come true. After hearing what Pa had told him, Thame returned to the old Mars dorm. The house was exactly as Pa had described. It was spotless. The orange tree was still alive. Its branches were heavy with fruit. The handwritten wishes still hung from them, untouched. If his friends truly no longer wanted to be Mars, shouldn't the orange tree have been the very first thing they abandoned? Chapter 11. Thame was supposed to leave for Korea that night. His luggage had already been packed. The housekeeper had neatly prepared everything for him. He had even been given one free day to spend with his family. But when he returned home, the house was empty. His parents had no interest in having one last meal with him or spending time together before he left. They were too busy running their real estate business. The only thing they had said was, It's only 3 months. You'll be back for the concert before you know it. There's no need to make such a fuss. Thame knew it wouldn't have been any different even if he had been leaving for a year. He had grown accustomed to the emptiness of his home ever since he was a child. It no longer felt lonely. It was simply reality. He had no brothers or sisters, only a succession of golden retrievers, all named Happy. Most days, the only conversations he had at home were with his dog. Sometimes he spoke to Alexa, asking her to play music. But one thought refused to leave his mind. The orange tree. He still didn't know who had been taking care of it. When he visited the Mars dorm the day before, almost everyone's belongings were gone. There was nothing left that could tell him which member had been returning to the house. Yet someone clearly had. He remembered what Pa had told him at the suit shop after hearing the story behind the tree. You're not a bad leader, Thame. You've done everything you could to make Mars successful. Pa had looked him straight in the eye. The sad part is that all of you chose to drift apart instead of trying to fix what was broken. Thame remembered every word. Pa had said them while carefully repairing his suit. Pa answered his phone while buying his usual sandwich. What? Aren't you going to tell me anything about the Mars boys? Byfern demanded. What am I supposed to tell you? Pa laughed. I'm a professional employee. I can't leak company secrets, and I'm definitely not sharing the artists' private lives. Oh, come on. Byfern scoffed. I'm not asking for company secrets. I'm a respectable fan. I just want to know whether they're cute. Were there any sweet moments? Did you meet my bias yet? Pepper. I haven't talked to your bias. Ugh. She groaned dramatically. What a waste. Why did I even help you get that job? So I'd have a job. Pa answered flatly. Well, congratulations on that. She paused. So, have you found yourself a new man yet? Pa blinked just as the sandwich vendor handed him 2 wrapped sandwiches, as usual. 120 baht, the vendor said. I only ordered 1. Pa murmured. The vendor looked confused. Nothing. Pa sighed. 2 is fine. He paid without another word. Byfern, who had heard the entire exchange, burst out laughing. Seriously? You still can't tell him you only want 1 sandwich. I've given up on you. Shut up. So when are you finally going to find someone else to buy sandwiches for? Not anytime soon. Pa returned to Uncle Choi's shop carrying 2 sandwiches. Uncle Choi glanced at the bag and chuckled. He didn't say a word. He didn't need to. His laughter said everything. Eat them, lock up when you're done, and head home. He yawned. I'm going to bed. Pa nodded. He unwrapped 1 sandwich. Then he looked at the second one. Should he save it for breakfast? Or throw it away? Before he could decide, the bell above the shop door chimed. He looked toward the entrance, then froze. Standing in the doorway was someone who should have been at the airport. Someone who was supposed to be in Korea for the next 3 months. Thame. Pa stared at him. What are you doing here? I don't want to go to Korea. Pa blinked. What? What you said. Thame stepped inside. About how it was a shame we never tried to fix things. He took another step. I think. His voice was quiet but certain. I want to try. But, Pa. Thame interrupted him. I need your help. He walked closer. Help me bring my friends back. Help me make Mars whole again. His eyes never left Po's. You're the only person who can reach them. You're the only one who can help me. Pa stood speechless. He didn't know what to say. Thame kept walking toward him, patiently waiting for an answer. For some reason, Po's heart began pounding. Maybe it was the determination in Thame's eyes. Maybe it was seeing his bare face without stage makeup. Or maybe it was the sincerity of someone who had never truly wanted to abandon anyone. Someone who had only wanted what he believed was best for everyone. If you're willing to help, Thame glanced at the sandwich in Poe's hand. Then give me that sandwich. He smiled faintly. I saw you were about to throw it away. If you're willing to help me. He slowly reached out his hand. Give it to me. Poe looked down at the sandwich. For years, that sandwich had symbolized his care, his devotion, something he bought every single day for the person he loved. Byfern had once joked that one day, it would end up in the hands of someone new. Thame waited patiently, his hand still outstretched. Poe made his choice. He placed the sandwich into Thame's hand. Chapter 12. Thame let out a long, slow sigh. It felt as though the burden he had carried for so long had finally been lifted. He wasn't going to Korea anymore. Instead, he was sitting in Uncle Choi's suit shop, eating a sandwich with Poe. The sense of relief he felt wasn't just because of the decision he had made. It was because of Poe. Thame knew Poe would help him. It wasn't only because Poe's position made it easier for him to get close to the other members of Mars. It was because of the kind of person Poe was. Thame had never met anyone like him. Plenty of people had asked what he thought. No one had ever asked how he truly felt. And even if they had, they would have believed him the moment he smiled and said, I'm fine. Poe wasn't like that. He always looked deeper. He peeled back the layers Thame had hidden, even from himself. The strange way their lives mirrored one another felt almost too perfect to be a coincidence. Thame didn't want to call it luck. He preferred to think of it as fate. Someone had once said that after the rain came a rainbow, and if you followed it to the end, you would find treasure. Could Poe lead him there? Could they reach the end of that rainbow before its colors disappeared? Do you really want to help me? Thame's voice broke the silence, just as Poe tossed his sandwich wrapper into the trash. You're the one who really wants to do this, aren't you? Poe looked at him. Do you even realize how much chaos you've caused? He folded his arms. I bet every company group chat is exploding by now. And your phone is probably. I turned it off before making my decision. Thame answered calmly. And to answer your question, he smiled. I've never been more certain about anything in my life. What I'm doing now is what I truly want. For most of his life, Thame had carried other people's expectations. If it wasn't his parents' expectations, it was his bandmates. He always knew what everyone else wanted. He knew their dreams. He knew the futures they hoped for. But he had never stopped to ask himself what he wanted. He had agreed to go to Korea because he believed his friends no longer wanted Mars to continue. It was a path his parents and Pemmica had laid out for him. A way for his bandmates to pursue their own dreams while he moved forward alone. But it had never been his dream. Korea was someone else's dream. For Pemmica, it was the next step in expanding winter entertainment and taking T-pop onto the global stage. For his parents, it represented the greatest success their son could achieve. But not for him. Poe had made him realize what he truly wanted. He wanted to stay. I've never felt this good about a decision. Thame looked at Poe with a smile so natural that it surprised even himself. He couldn't remember the last time he had smiled so freely. And somehow, showing this side of himself to Poe felt effortless. He didn't know why. If you've really thought this through, Poe nodded. Then I'll help you. He paused. But do you know what you're going to do next? I do. Thame nodded confidently. And do you know what you'll have to do? I guess. Poe thought for a moment. I'll talk to your friends for you. Or find a way to help all of you talk to each other. Then you still don't understand. Thame's answer was unexpectedly serious. Huh. Poe frowned. What comes next is going to be much scarier than you think. He looked directly at Poe. And it's going to put you in danger too. Wait. Poe blinked. What? I've never gone against the company before. Thame's expression turned solemn. They'll be scrambling to clean this up. They'll probably tell the Korean company I'm sick so they can buy some time. Then they'll start investigating why I changed my mind. They'll call me in for meetings. I won't tell them anything. He paused. And when they can't get answers from me, they'll look for someone else to blame. The first person they'll suspect is June. Why June? Poe asked in surprise. The company has always seen him as the troublemaker. Thame answered without hesitation. They think he skips practice whenever he can. They think he avoids responsibility. They think he talks his way out of every problem. If they believe someone convinced me not to go, they'll assume it was part of one of June's schemes. That's... Poe frowned. Not the June I've seen. Thame gave a knowing smile. He's smarter than he lets people think. Both on camera and off. And trust me, if June finds out I'm staying, he'll turn the situation to his advantage. How? June will go to Pemmica. He'll promise to find the person responsible for this whole mess. In return, He'll ask the company to terminate his idol contract so he can sign exclusively as an actor. Poe's eyes widened. You mean, he'll figure out it was me? Figure it out? Thame shook his head. He already knows. What? Po stared at him. How could he possibly know? Before you joined Winter. Thame said quietly. I never behaved like this. Then you appeared. And suddenly I changed my mind. He gave Po a meaningful look. Who else would June suspect? He'll go straight to Pemmica and ask her to fire you. Po stood there in stunned silence. His mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. I've already accepted whatever consequences come my way. Thame's voice remained calm. But the real question is, he stepped closer. Are you ready to face what might happen to you? Po blinked. Until that moment, he hadn't stopped to think about what helping Thame could cost him. Po. Thame looked him straight in the eyes. You never thought about any of this, did you? Po slowly shook his head. Are you starting to regret helping me? Po remained silent. Thame couldn't tell what was going through his mind. But regardless of his answer, Thame already knew what he wanted to say. What if I told you not to worry? His voice softened. What if I promised that nothing would happen to you? Because I'll protect you, no matter what. He held Poe's gaze. Would you still help me? Po swallowed. How? Are you going to do that? A faint smile spread across Thame's face. By making June the first person to join our side. What? Chapter 13. Everything Thame had predicted came true. Winter Entertainment released a press statement. The company was thrown into chaos. And June was constantly walking in and out of Pemmica's office. When Po happened to pass June near the elevators, June shot him a glance that sent a chill down his spine. Thame had told Po to act as though nothing had happened. He said he would deal with June himself by visiting him on set. Thame knew exactly how to handle someone as clever as June. Poe's only job was to wait until Thame had June completely on his side before trying to interview him. If Po interviewed June first, June would undoubtedly take control of the situation. Po had asked why they couldn't convince the other members first and let them help with June. Thame had simply shaken his head. June has to be the first. Then he added, he's my closest friend. Po couldn't understand it. Thame and June couldn't have seemed more different. So, June grinned as they crossed paths. When are you interviewing me, Mr. Director? I'll come to your set after you're finished filming. You're coming to the set? Yep. June fell silent. He appeared to be thinking something over, but could only hope June wasn't about to insist on doing the interview immediately. If that happened, Thame would lose his chance to speak with him first. And Po had no doubt that June would outmaneuver him. All right. June adjusted his baseball cap. I'll see you there. He stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed, he whistled a carefree tune. Po breathed a quiet sigh of relief. Everything was still going according to plan. He turned and headed back toward his department, intending to finish some unfinished work. Then, ding, the elevator doors opened again. Hey. Po turned around. June stepped back out. Let's do the interview now. He glanced around. I'm sure there's an empty room somewhere. Po swallowed nervously. I think it'd be better if we waited until we got to the set. The atmosphere would. The atmosphere doesn't matter. June interrupted him with a broad smile. What matters is what I say. He pointed toward Po. Grab your camera. And follow me. But I have a meeting with Mick. Oh, please. June rolled his eyes. Mick hates meetings. He barely works anyway. He spotted an empty lounge. There we go. Without waiting for Poe's agreement, June grabbed his arm and pulled him inside. Poe's heart sank. This is bad. Nothing is going according to plan anymore. June, who was the same age as Thame at 22, stretched out comfortably across the sofa as though the lounge belonged to him. Thame had warned Po that June was exactly that kind of person. You've got a script, right? June asked. Yeah, but it's in another room. Po pointed toward the hallway. Can you wait a minute? He headed for the door, hoping to use the opportunity to warn Thame that June wasn't going to the filming location after all. Before he reached the exit, June stopped him. Isn't it in your email? Po froze. Everything around here gets sent by email for approval. June folded his arms. So why would you need to go somewhere else to get it? Po was speechless. He knows everything. I thought you'd want a printed copy. Airdrop it. June smirked. Don't be stupid. Po quietly clenched his fists. How does someone like this even have fans? Forcing a smile, he airdropped the script to June. June skimmed through it and nodded. Looks good. I'm ready. All right. Po lifted his camera. Let me just set up. Wait. June raised a hand. Are you sure I can talk about the arcade like it says here? Yeah. Pa nodded. Pemmica already approved the script. Perfect. Pa switched on the camera. Recording. He looked through the viewfinder. Could you say something about Thame? The change in June was instantaneous. His playful expression disappeared. In its place was a warm, sincere smile. Thame. He looked directly into the camera. I'm really proud of how far you've come. But honestly, I'm not surprised. You've always been talented. He smiled to himself. I still remember when the three of us, me, you, and Pepper, were trainees together. You were so serious about practice that it was honestly annoying. Every day, it was straight from home to the studio. No detours. No distractions. And somehow, he laughed softly, we still became friends. Even after I tricked you into skipping practice. As Pa watched through the camera, he could almost picture the memories June was describing. The two of them spending an afternoon at an arcade. Racing games. Shooting games. Air hockey. I thought. June chuckled. If you skip practice just once, your evaluation score might drop enough for me to move up. I figured you'd get scolded. And honestly, I thought it'd serve you right. He laughed. In the end, we both got scolded. Pemmica even found out it had been my idea. He shook his head. But then, you lied. You told her it was your idea. You said you were tired of practicing and dragged me along because you knew I'd never refuse. You even told her that if I'd really wanted to sabotage you, I wouldn't have stayed and played games with you until the very end. June's eyes softened. To be honest, I still don't know why I stayed. I should have gone home and saved myself. But being with you was fun. A gentle smile spread across his face. You once told me I was your first friend. He paused. Well, you were my first friend too. His smile became even warmer. Even if we're no longer together in the future, remember this. I'll always be your friend. June held the smile until Pa finally said, cut. Almost instantly, June dropped the heartfelt expression and flopped back onto the sofa as though nothing had happened. Let me see. He held out his hand. I want to know how I looked. Pa handed him the camera, trying not to appear nervous. He remembered Thame's warning from the night before. June is going to look through your camera. Thame had been locking up Uncle Choi's shop as he spoke. If he finds the footage of me speaking honestly about the band, he'll know you're involved. And he'll use it against you. Move those files to another hard drive. Delete them from the camera. Leave only the interview we filmed according to the script. Pa had done exactly as instructed. He was still amazed by how accurately Thame seemed able to predict June's behavior. And if anything unexpected happens, Thame had added, call me immediately. But you said the company might stop you from entering the building. Call me anyway. Thame had casually taken Po's phone, entered his number into the contact list, and handed it back with a smile. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Pa. June opened the video folder. There was nothing except the scripted interview footage. Why are you looking through Thame's files? Pa asked casually. I thought you were checking how you looked. What I look at is my business. June answered without meeting his eyes. So, Pa asked, how did you look? As handsome as always. June grinned with infuriating confidence before handing the camera back. Pa quietly let out a breath of relief. Thame's precautions had worked. As Pa packed up his equipment, he asked, do you need a ride back to the set? I'm not going. June walked toward the door. What? I've got something more important to do first. Like what? June locked the lounge door behind him before turning to face Pa. Report you to Pemmica. His smile disappeared. You're the one who made Thame change his mind, aren't you? Pa froze. How? How did June know? There hadn't been any evidence left in the camera. Chapter 14. June stood in front of the door, blocking Po's way. Pa froze. His thoughts raced. Where had he made a mistake? How had Thame's plan fallen apart? Before Pa could think any further, June pulled out his phone and called Thame. So, I figured it out. June smirked. I know who's helping you. He listened for a moment before laughing. Did you really think that fake interview clip would fool me? I've been working here long enough to know every interview follows roughly the same length. He glanced at Pa. My interview was 2.5 minutes. Yours? Barely 1. Po's stomach dropped. June had noticed something he never even thought about. He hadn't analyzed what Thame had said. He had simply compared the video lengths. Which means your little interview was never finished. June's grin widened. But the two of you obviously had a long conversation after the camera stopped rolling. Pa couldn't hear what Thame was saying on the other end. June laughed again. Oh, he continued. And one more thing. The file numbers. He tapped the camera. 2 files are missing. That means there were extra recordings. They were either deleted or moved somewhere else. June had pieced everything together. Thame had predicted almost every move June would make. Just, not all of them. June was even sharper than either of them had expected. You're coming here? June chuckled. Too bad the company's already banned you from entering the building. I guess you won't make it in time. He paused for dramatic effect. And just imagine how pleased Pimika will be when I hand her the culprit. I'll make sure she knows I'm the one who kept everything under control. And got you onto that plane to Korea? He ended the call with an exaggerated bye. Then he slipped the phone into his pocket and turned back to Pa, still wearing the same smug smile. Wait, June. Pa raised a hand. This isn't what you think, isn't it? June folded his arms. You're the last person who spoke to Thame before he changed his mind. If it wasn't you, then who was it? Mick. He snorted. No chance. Ming. Hey. They'd never disobey orders. He pointed at Pa. You're the only wild card. And everything started the moment you showed up. Pa desperately searched for an excuse. Instead, he blurted out the truth. June. He took a breath. Thame doesn't want to go to Korea. This isn't about what he wants. June's voice rose. It's about what he has to do. Why? Pa asked. So you can become an actor? From what I've heard, you're not even the lead in that movie. Wouldn't staying with Mars actually help your career? You'd get more exposure, and you don't understand anything. June cut him off. This has nothing to do with acting. It's about Thame. His voice was heavy with frustration. If he doesn't go, this band will destroy him. Pa froze. Destroy him? What do you mean? June took a slow breath. Did Thame ever tell you about the contracts he signed for Mars? Pa slowly shook his head. Did he ever tell you what would happen if he refused to go to Korea? Again, Pa shook his head. No, of course he didn't. June let out a bitter laugh. He never even told us. Back then, none of us knew. None of us questioned why he agreed to become a solo artist. He looked away. But I did. I checked his contract. June's expression darkened. Thame signed away everything. Every cent he earned went toward keeping this band alive. He carried all of us. His voice became harsher. For freeloaders who couldn't pull our own weight. The words were cruel. But beneath them, Pa could hear nothing except pain. I told him not to sign it. June clenched his fists. He wouldn't listen. He honestly believed he could carry everyone's dreams. He laughed bitterly. Look at him now. He's exhausted. When the opportunity to go to Korea came, it finally freed him from that contract. For the first time in years, he had a chance to live for himself. June stepped closer to Pa, and then you showed up. He stared directly into his eyes. What did you say to him? What made him change his mind? He finally had a way out. And now he's right back to carrying everyone else's burdens again. Pa finally understood. This was why Thame had called June his closest friend. Behind all the teasing, behind every argument, June's anger came from caring about Thame more than anyone else. Without realizing it, Pa smiled. What are you smiling at? June frowned. Have you lost your mind? Pa shook his head. No, I just realized how much you care about Thame. June blinked. That's why he said you're the most important friend he has. What? June recoiled. His face flushed. Everything you've been saying. Pa continued. The anger. The frustration. It's all because you want him to be okay. I don't care about him. June protested immediately. Then stop getting involved. Make him go to Korea. Otherwise, none of us are getting through this. But didn't you tell him to be selfish? Pa asked. June frowned. Not going to Korea is the most selfish thing Thame has ever done. How is this selfish? June shot back. He's doing it for everyone else. No. Pa smiled gently. He's doing it for himself. June fell silent. Thame wants to bring Mars back together. Not because someone told him to. Not because the company wants it. But because it's what he truly wants. He wants to fix what he believes he failed to do as a leader. This, Pa smiled, is his dream. June didn't answer. His expression gradually softened as Po's words sank in. Your friend is finally choosing himself, June. Pa tilted his head. Aren't you going to help him? He couldn't resist adding one last comment. Besides, you love causing trouble. Going against the company sounds exactly like your kind of fun. June narrowed his eyes. But this time, he didn't argue. The arcade was where Thame and June had truly become friends. Neither of them remembered the very first game they had played together. but they both remembered loving the racing games. When Thame arrived, June was already sitting at one of the machines. Thame sat down beside him. So, he inserted a coin. You figured it out. June smirked. Did you honestly think you were smarter than me? He laughed. I'll admit it, though. You've got guts. I thought I was being careful. If you'd really been careful. June glanced sideways at him. You wouldn't have dragged someone as obvious as Po into this. Don't blame him. Thame started the game. If you're angry, be angry at me. June drove silently for a few moments before asking, why didn't you just go to Korea? Because I don't want to. Thame answered without hesitation. He looked at June. So, are you going to help me? Are you coming back so we can finish what we started? June didn't answer immediately. On the screen, his car swerved dangerously close to the guardrail. Even if I help you. He finally spoke. You know this isn't going to be easy. He counted on his fingers. Pepper should be easy. Nano. He shrugged. Probably not too difficult. But Dylan. I've already spoken to Pepper. Thame kept his eyes on the screen. Not Nano yet. Then let's go talk to Nano first. No. Thame shook his head. The first person we need to convince. He looked directly at June. Is Dylan. June's car slammed into the barrier. Crash. He slowly turned to stare at Thame. Have you completely lost your mind? He pointed at him in disbelief. Dylan. First, you do realize? No one even knows where he is. Or what he's doing anymore. Chapter 15. Po felt slightly relieved that he hadn't been caught, and that Thame had managed to bring back two of his friends. Thame explained that June had returned first, and Pepper had followed shortly afterward to their shared home. Pepper was naturally easygoing, but what surprised Po was Thame's sudden change in mood after telling him the news. Why didn't you call me at all? Thame scolded when he showed up at Uncle Choi's suit shop, where Po was. Po flinched at Thame's outburst. I was trying to deal with June cornering me. I didn't think calling you would help since you were banned from entering the building anyway. I could have figured something out. I could have called someone to help. Thame argued. And who would you call? Po shot back. Thame fell silent. His expression made it obvious he hadn't thought that far ahead. If you were going to help, why didn't you call me yourself? Po turned the argument around. He expected that to make Thame pause, but instead, Thame fired right back. You think I didn't try? When I gave you my number, did you ever give me yours? Po froze. You didn't, Thame answered for him. Oh, Po murmured, suddenly feeling guilty. Thame held out his phone. Give me your number, he said, keeping his eyes fixed on Po. Po avoided his gaze and reached for the phone, but Thame quickly pulled it back. What? Changed your mind? Po asked. No, I just realized. I don't want to save it in here. I'd rather remember it. Why? In case the company confiscates my phone one day, Thame said, almost shyly, looking away. I'd still want to be able to contact you. Po didn't understand why Thame said that, but the words made warmth spread across his face. It seemed Thame felt the same. Say those 10 digits. I'll remember every one of them. Po recited his phone number, and Thame repeated it slowly, again and again, with the same focus and care he seemed to devote to everything he did. Po didn't know whether Thame treated everyone this way, or if it was something special. He didn't know much about Thame's personal life. All he knew was that Thame's sincerity made his heart swell. No one had paid attention to those 10 digits in a very long time. For years, they had been his alone to remember. Now, someone else would carry them too. I'll remember yours too, Po offered. Thame let out a soft, teasing chuckle. Then let's remember each other's numbers, okay? Po had never imagined something as ordinary as a phone number could feel so meaningful. But somehow it did. That night, Thame called Po. When the call came through, Po was in the shower listening to music. His phone was always on silent, so he missed it. By the time he noticed, the ringing had already stopped. Panicking, he scrambled out of the shower, barely drying himself off before hurriedly calling back, still half-dressed with foam from his face wash clinging to one cheek. Thame answered after the first ring. Po. Hey. Po stammered, his voice uneven as he wiped the foam from his face. What's up? I need your help with something. It's about Dylan. Of course. Work. It made sense. What else would Thame call him about if not work? I told you about the song I pitched to Pimika before I got the offer to go to Korea, right? Thame asked. Po nodded, recalling the conversation. Yeah, I remember. What I didn't tell you is, it wasn't my song. It was Dylan's. Po murmured. I promised him I'd get that song accepted for the group, no matter what. But before I could keep that promise, I got the offer from Korea. Dylan was furious when he found out I wasn't going to fight for it anymore. Thame continued, his voice weighed down with regret. That song is still in Winter Entertainment's archives. It's probably in the storage room in the basement. Dylan never uploaded it to the cloud. He kept it on a hard drive. And when he found out I'd chosen Korea over his song, he smashed the drive to pieces. But could picture Dylan's reaction. His quiet demeanor had always hidden a storm of emotions. Dylan seemed like the kind of person who could intimidate others without saying a single word. Dylan never wanted to be an idol, Thame admitted. He only stayed because he trusted me to get his music out into the world. And I let him down. If we can find that song and promise to fight for it, we might be able to bring him back. I see. Pa nodded. I'll figure out a way to get it. June will help you, Thame assured him. He's good at making up excuses. He'll get you into the archives without raising any suspicion. Yeah, that sounds like him. Pa laughed softly. Now it makes sense why you said he had to come back first. Exactly, Thame replied, a trace of amusement in his voice. I'll take care of it, Pa promised. Thanks. That's all I needed. Oh, wait. Pa thought Thame was about to hang up, but then his voice softened. How was your day? The simple question, spoken in Thame's calm, unhurried tone, made time seem to slow. He didn't have to ask. He could have ended the call once they'd finished discussing work. But he didn't. It was fine, Pa replied. I've just been going through old clips of you guys to put something together. Need help? Pa hesitated. No, I've got it. Don't say no so quickly, Thame said gently. I want to help. The sincerity in his voice caught Pa off guard. Most people accepted his refusals without a second thought. But Thame insisted on being there for him. All right, Pa relented. I'm putting together something sentimental, like a farewell montage. Got it. Check out the footage from our trip to Hua Hin about 2 years ago. There are some good moments in there. Pa jotted down Thame's suggestions, his heart warming at the small but meaningful gesture. Thame wasn't simply giving him a task. He was sharing pieces of their story. That night, Pa felt something different. It wasn't the giddiness of a crush or the thrill of excitement. It was quiet, comforting, and deeply fulfilling. It was a connection that eased the weight on his shoulders and left him wondering whether this was what love, real, lasting love, felt like. Chapter 16. Pa wanted to hand June an acting award. The guy strolled into Confemica's office and spun a story about needing to perform an impromptu song on a music show, but being unable to write one himself. So he wanted to borrow some old lyrics to make himself look good on camera. Only June could come up with a story like that, and somehow make it believable. As a result, June and Pa successfully made it into the document storage room. June grumbled about the dust coating everything and complained that Pa wasn't much help, calling him deadweight since Pa had to stay outside and keep watch instead. Annoyed, Pa shot back that June was nothing more than Thame's lackey. That immediately set June off. Who's anyone's lackey, huh? Pa could only sigh inwardly, wondering why he had to fall for someone whose friend was like this. People said that if you loved someone, you had to love their dog too. But this dog wasn't cute at all. It bit people, and on top of that, why are you helping him so much? June smirked. You like him, don't you? Pa flinched. There it is. I knew it. I didn't even say anything. Flinching like that already answered the question. Then June flashed a smug grin. Let me warn you, though, that Thame, no matter how nice he is to you, is just being kind. His type is petite girls, not big guys like you. Pa clenched his jaw. He wanted to argue, but he couldn't, not when it was true that he liked Thame. And maybe Thame really was just being kind to him. So instead, he snapped, Would you shut up and help me look? Oh, did that hit a nerve? This bastard. Pa balled his fists, itching to punch June. Before they could continue bickering, June's phone buzzed. The caller ID read, Pepper. What's up, AI Pepper? Pa couldn't hear what Pepper was saying, but June's expression changed instantly. What did Dylan say? Pa leaned in, instantly alert. And what did AI Thame do? What's happening? Pa asked urgently the moment he heard Thame's name. Is he crazy? And where are they? Damn it, send me the location now. I'm on my way. June hung up and immediately grabbed Pa by the arm. What's going on? Pa asked, alarmed. Out of nowhere, Dylan called and said he'd come back to the band, but only if Thame went to rap with him at some club. Huh? That sounds like a good thing. Good my ass. It's obviously a trap. Dylan suddenly wants to rejoin the band, before Thames even made him any promises. June tapped frantically on his phone. Pepper must have already sent the location. There. He showed Pro a picture of the club's rundown exterior. Graffiti covered the bare concrete walls, dim neon lights flickered overhead, and, worse still, the place was known for a crew of rappers who openly mocked idol music. Dylan lured AI Thame there so he could get destroyed. And that idiot actually went? What the hell was he thinking? Damn it. June cursed Thame non-stop as they rushed out, repeatedly trying to call him. Thame, however, wasn't answering. Thame followed Dylan, who looked completely at ease as they approached the shabby underground rap club. I thought you'd hesitate when I asked you to come, Dylan said. You're not really into rap. Not really. I'm not very good at it. But if you wanted me here, then I'm here. Sorry. Dylan turned to face him. For how angry I got back then. I almost hit you with that hard drive. I was really pissed. I know. Thame nodded calmly. I couldn't keep my promise then. But I can now. Okay. Dylan replied, though there wasn't much conviction in his voice. Help me deal with these rappers who keep talking trash about idol music. I know you can handle it. He pushed open a heavy metal door that looked more like the entrance to a prison than a club and motioned for Thame to go inside. Thame glanced back at him. Dylan simply smiled. Taking a steadying breath, Thame stepped through the doorway. He knew. Dylan hadn't brought him here to help deal with a bunch of rappers. Thame wasn't naive enough to believe that. He understood this was the price of bringing Dylan back to Mars. The moment Thame removed his hat and mask, the club erupted with jeers and laughter. The crowd was thrilled that the country's #1 idol had wandered into their territory. Thame had always believed the problem between him and Dylan was the song that had never been produced. He thought that was what Dylan resented most. But after Dylan brought him here, after seeing the look in Dylan's eyes and looking into the club Dylan had mentioned, Thame realized he'd been wrong. It had never been just about the song. Even if Thame had left, he could have entrusted Dylan to other producers at Winter Entertainment. He could have negotiated with Confimica to continue supporting Dylan's music. But Dylan had rejected every option and ended up in this underground rap club. The real problem had become painfully clear. Dylan had grown up in America. He had left his home behind to debut in Thailand. The company told him he'd be a rapper, but they never mentioned it would be as part of an idol group. That wasn't what he'd wanted. Dylan didn't dance. He didn't care about pop music. He had never imagined spending his days alongside for people who weren't rappers. At first, he didn't fit in. He kept to himself, sitting quietly in corners while scribbling lyrics into his notebook. Thame was the one who chose to sit beside him. He noticed Dylan writing and started talking to him about music. Dylan had expected to be chased away. Instead, he found himself having the kind of conversation he'd always wanted. Their musical tastes matched. Dylan admitted he'd assumed Thame was nothing more than a pop singer, but Thame confessed that there were songs he wanted to create himself. That conversation became the beginning of their friendship. It wasn't only about music. Whenever everyone else went home to spend time with their families during breaks, Dylan stayed behind because he had nowhere to go. Thame stayed too. His own house was empty. During those lonely days, they became each other's family. Dylan wasn't angry because of a song. He was angry because the person he'd come to see as family had left him behind. The underground club had one rule. You had to prove yourself before you could join them. They loved mocking idol music, and Thame was the perfect target. Dylan had probably brought him here to be publicly humiliated so he could earn his own place among them. Your opponent is Jim, Dylan said. Got it. Anything you want to say before you go up? Thame lowered his eyes for a moment before asking quietly. Have you made up your mind? Dylan's expression didn't change. Yeah. By the time June and Pepper arrived, Thame was already on stage, getting completely torn apart by his opponent. Crap, Pepper muttered as the rapper relentlessly dissed Thame. Thame tried to answer back, but rap wasn't his strength, and every comeback was met with loud boos from the crowd. June and Pepper pushed through the audience and grabbed Dylan by the shoulder, forcing him to turn around. Oh, here to collect your friend's corpse. Dylan sneered. Too bad. Your idiot friend walked right into this. You think Thame didn't know you were setting him up? June shot back. If he knew, then why'd he go up there? To give you what you wanted. June answered without hesitation. At first, I thought this was just about the song. But after watching the clip and seeing how easily Thame followed you here, I finally figured it out. He looked Dylan straight in the eye. This isn't just about music between you two. You're trying to find a new home to replace what Thame used to be for you, aren't you? Dylan froze. June had hit the mark. You're angry because he left you. Because the one person who became your family here disappeared. June pointed toward the stage. But take a good look. That so-called abandoner is standing up there letting himself get humiliated for your sake. He's the one who never stopped being your family. Dylan stood motionless, as though June's words had struck him harder than any punch. Then the rapper on stage shouted, "Dylan, get up here and finish your buddy off." The crowd erupted into chants of Dylan's name. Slowly, Dylan walked toward the stage. He stopped in front of Thame. Thame was breathing heavily, gripping the microphone tightly. The two of them stared at each other, but couldn't tell whether they exchanged words or simply understood each other through their silence. Whatever passed between them, Dylan eventually looked away and picked up a microphone. Maybe he was about to deliver the final blow. Maybe he had chosen the rappers after all. He looked at his former bandmate. Then he said a single word. "Idiot." Thame closed his eyes and took a slow breath, bracing himself. But Dylan never attacked him. Instead, he continued, "I was the idiot for believing you'd betray me, for believing everything about idols was fake." Thame's eyes opened in surprise. Dylan gave him a faint smile. Then he turned toward the crowd and unleashed a blistering rap aimed squarely at the underground crew, making it crystal clear that he had no intention of joining them. He chose to stand beside Thame. And with that, Mars rapper returned. Chapter 17. Thame wasn't exactly thrilled when June returned to the Mars house and announced, "I've sorted everything out with Nano. I asked Phi Pa to talk to Phi Ming and Phi Te about letting us join the camp together. Then we'll corner Nano there and talk things through." It wasn't clear what bothered Thame more, June taking care of everything without consulting anyone, or June dragging Po into it. "What's with those faces?" June asked when he noticed everyone's puzzled expressions. Pepper was the first to answer. "We're just surprised you're actually helping." "This isn't just helping. It's helping intelligently," June said smugly. "I looked into what kind of work at the office would let Nano cross paths with us. Jackpot, a chicken essence ad campaign with the lovely Kun came. I was going to use my own good looks, but they're too valuable. Better let FIPA handle it. Might as well let our undercover agent have his moment." Dylan clapped slowly before saying, "A smart person doesn't show off, but a show-off like you." "Call me a genius," June interrupted, finishing the sentence for himself, even though Dylan had almost certainly meant it as an insult. "So when's the camp?" Pepper asked. "It's happening in 5, 4. Before June could finish his countdown, Mick sent the schedule to everyone's phones. June grinned triumphantly and glanced at Thame, clearly expecting praise. Instead, Thame asked, "When exactly did you talk to Phi Pa?" Thame became even more irritated after calling Pa to ask about the plan to bring Nano back. It wasn't Po's explanation that annoyed him. It was how often Pa kept bringing up June. "So I told June that Nano's Instagram reminds me of my old self," Pa explained as he flopped onto his bed, scrolling through Nano's profile. It was full of photos of diving, fishing, knitting, painting, pottery, and cooking. "I told him that if Nano won't talk to the band, then I'll talk to him because I think I understand what he's going through." "Can you explain it to me then?" Thame asked evenly. Unlike Dylan or June, Nano's problem isn't about the past. It's about the future, Pa said. He's looking ahead and not seeing anything there, so he's grabbing onto anything he can. "Shouldn't the band be that thing?" Thame asked, puzzled. "Wouldn't getting back together be what he wants?" Pa fell silent for a moment before replying. "Let me find that answer for you." Thame nodded, almost forgetting his irritation. Then Pa added, "Oh, and June already came up with a plan to sneak some time for me to talk to Nano during the camp. June's amazing, isn't he? He's always coming up with ideas." Thame let out a slow breath, trying to vent his frustration. It didn't help. "That's it. I'm sleepy." But he hung up without another word. "Phi Thame is definitely jealous of you and me," Pa said over lunch in the camp's rest area. "Last night, every time I mentioned you, he got annoyed and hung up." "Don't flatter yourself," June replied. "Thame's never been in love. He wouldn't even know what jealousy feels like. But you said his type is petite girls. Now you're saying he's never been in love. Having a type and being in love are two completely different things, genius." He hung up because he was tired, not because he was jealous. "But, drop it. The more we talk about this, the dumber it gets." June waved him off. "Have you prepared for your talk with Nano?" "Yeah." June's plan for the camp centered around a sumo wrestling game. Thame, June, Pepper, and Dylan would work together to push Nano out of the ring first, giving Po the opportunity to pull him aside for a private conversation and find out what was really holding him back. At the referee's whistle, the game began on a grassy field surrounded by nature. Behind them stood the newly pitched Mars camping tents, all arranged as part of the commercial shoot. Just as planned, Thame, June, Dylan, and Pepper all targeted Nano. Although Nano dodged them several times, the four eventually succeeded in pushing him out of the ring. Po exchanged a knowing glance with the others, who stayed behind to continue the game while he quietly led Nano away. Nano settled into a folding camping chair while Po set up a camera across from him, pretending to film an interview for Mars' farewell concert. Nano answered according to the company's script. Someone as talented as Thame will succeed wherever he goes. I'll always cheer him on from here. I'll definitely buy tickets to his concert in Korea. Okay, cut. Po stopped the recording before picking up his iPad. Can we keep talking for a bit? I want to know what you think everyone will do after the band ends. Including you. Nano thought for a moment. I'm thinking about trying something completely different. I'm not sure what yet. I like a lot of things. Cooking, traveling, learning languages, diving. They're all fun. Everything you've been posting on Instagram. You've been stalking my Instagram? Nano asked in surprise. Your posts reminded me of a friend, Po replied. They went through a period where they tried all kinds of different things. But underneath it all, they were afraid. Nano fell silent, staring at him. What were they afraid of? Disappointment. Po's voice softened. My friend devoted everything they had to one dream. They believed it would define the rest of their life. But when things didn't turn out that way, Po remembered all the footage he'd watched of Nano over the years. Nano had always been completely devoted to becoming an idol. He had trained harder than anyone, improved faster than anyone, perfected every dance move, performed with unwavering energy every single time. But when the band failed to become what everyone had hoped, Nano was different from the others. He couldn't picture what came next. As the main dancer, he had no roadmap beyond the group. Returning to Mars might have given him a place to belong, but it also forced him to ask himself whether he would always have to depend on the other four. Was his identity forever tied to the band? Could he exist only as part of an idol group? The group had been both his greatest dream and his deepest sorrow. If one day Thame decides to stop, Nano said quietly, I'd be the only one left behind. Learning new skills had become Nano's safety net. They were something solid, something he could rely on in a future where he had to stand on his own. It doesn't have to end like that, Po said. Really? Nano asked. But if it's the same book, won't it always have the same ending? Thame is rewriting the last page with you, Po replied. Nano tilted his head. Are you the one who convinced Thame? Po nodded. Actually, today's whole plan was arranged by your bandmates so they could talk to you. They really do want to rewrite the ending with you. Po quietly led Nano over to where Thame, June, Dylan, and Pepper were waiting beside the tents. Earlier, Po had told Mick and the staff that Thame and June had gotten into a fight and stormed off into the woods, sending everyone scrambling to look for them and giving Mars a rare moment of privacy. Po told me to listen, Nano began. But no matter what, I don't want to keep depending on you guys. My role can't become anything else anyway. The moment he finished speaking, June blurted out. And you think I've got everything figured out? Yeah, I'm acting in dramas. But do you know what I actually am? An extra. After this, I don't even know if I'll get another role. I might end up helping my mom sell fried chicken. You think I'm some successful producer? Dylan added. I'm just writing songs in the underground scene. And there's no way I'm going back to being a singer, Pepper said with a self-deprecating smile. Everyone only remembers me as an MC. So we depend on each other. What's the big deal? June pointed at Po. You think someone like him, starting over in a completely new career at his age, has everything figured out? Po shot June an annoyed glare before admitting. He's right. How old are you? Everyone stumbles. Everyone needs help sometimes. That's normal. Falling down doesn't mean you have to stay there. But isn't someone like Thame the kind of person who always lands on his feet? And who told you I'm okay? Thame cut in. I couldn't even keep the band together. Does that sound like someone who's okay? Nano fell silent. Exactly, Thame continued. If we're all a mess, then let's get back up together. And if we fall again, we'll help each other back up. And honestly, June added, you're probably in a better position than the rest of us. He counted them off on his fingers. You can already do more things than I can. More than Dylan. More than Pepper. Even more than Thame. What's the big deal about being the main dancer? Pepper asked. Lisa's a main dancer too, isn't she? But she raps. I can teach you to rap, Dylan offered immediately. Or Thame can teach you to sing, June chimed in. Just say the word. But if you never tell us what you want and just keep running away, how are we supposed to know? You think we're mind readers? Oh, come on. Pa interrupted. Are you trying to convince him or lecture him? Both. June folded his arms. So? What's it going to be? Nano thought quietly for a moment before asking. If I want to learn to sing, will Thame teach me? Thame smiled. Of course. He immediately picked up a guitar. Let's start now. Without another word, he began teaching Nano. From this moment on, Nano would no longer be only the main dancer. Mars would no longer be bound by fixed roles. They would help each other grow, push one another forward, and give everyone the chance to shine in their own way. As Pa watched the scene unfold, it looked as though Mars had finally become whole again. But in truth, not yet. Chapter 18. Pepper noticed that Thame had been acting strangely ever since the group decided to revisit Dylan's song, polish it, and aim for a perfect all-kill by topping every music chart. Thame seemed unusually focused on June, especially whenever June said something important. So, have you talked to the company yet about making this our wager with them? June asked, looking Thame straight in the eye. Not because I'm worried or anything. I just don't want us pouring all this time and effort into finishing the song, only for the company to thank us for boosting your popularity and leave the rest of us to rot. You're expecting them to offer everyone new contracts or something? Thame asked. I'm not. I'm just being careful. If this works, the company will see for themselves that Mars can still make money as a group. Negotiating will be much easier then. Thame reasoned. I agree with Thame, Dylan added. If we tell the company our plan now, they'll figure out what we're trying to do, rush out a competing song, and crush us. They've got far more resources than we do, media, staff, everything. There are only 5 of us. 6, actually. Aren't you counting 5? June chimed in. He's helped us so much. True, Nano said with a small smile. I agree with June. But Pepper sensed an odd tension in the room. When he looked over at Thame, it was obvious that Thame wasn't happy. You're acting weird, Pepper said as he walked over to Thame, who was taking a drink from the refrigerator. Weird how? You've been acting strangely around June ever since before the camping trip. Me? Acting strangely? June's the one acting strange. Huh? Pepper asked, intrigued. Has he ever been this enthusiastic about work before? And now what? He's organizing everything. Using FIPA. The moment Thame mentioned FIPA, something clicked in Pepper's mind. What gives him the right to keep using him like that? Oh, what? I think I get it now. You get what? It's not June, I've figured out. Pepper smiled. It's you. Me? Thame frowned. What about me? You don't realize you're jealous over FIPA. What? You're not upset because of anything June is or isn't doing. June's just being himself. He's helping bring the band back together and doing all this for your sake, isn't he? You were the one who wanted him back first because you knew he'd help. The only thing that's bothering you now is that he's getting close to FIPA. Thame opened his mouth to argue. Nothing came out. Pepper could tell he'd hit the mark. You don't even realize you're showing it. But how could I be jealous? Thame asked. Don't you have to like someone to be jealous? So you're saying you don't like him? Pepper challenged. You talk to him all the time. You tell him everything. You get upset whenever someone else gets close to him. And you're seriously saying you don't like him? Well, fine. Let's say you don't. Then what you're doing is leading him on, which makes you the bad guy. What? You need to figure out how you really feel. If you like him, that's one thing. If you don't, that's another. So, if I do like him, then I'm not hurting him? No. How am I supposed to know whether I like him or not? Then do exactly what I tell you. That night, Thame quietly left the house under the cover of darkness. He knew FIPA would probably still be at Uncle Choi's shop, cleaning up before heading home. He needed to know how he truly felt about Pa. It mattered to him. He didn't want to hurt Pa or make him think he was being led on. When Thame arrived outside the shop, Pa had just locked the door. Pa turned in surprise. What are you doing here? Can you stay still for a moment? Thame asked. I need to test something. Pa tilted his head, confused. Thame slowly walked toward him, following Pepper's instructions. Pepper had told him to get as close to Pa as possible, touch him somewhere, and listen to his heartbeat. If his heart skipped a beat or started racing, that would mean he liked P. Step by step, Thame closed the distance. From several meters away to only a few centimeters apart. His eyes never left Poe's. P swallowed nervously, completely unsure what was happening. Thame didn't stop when he reached him. He reached out and took Poe's hand. But even that didn't feel close enough. He stepped forward again until less than a ruler's length separated their chests. His gaze drifted briefly to Poe's lips, then returned to his eyes. As he leaned in closer, he unconsciously bit his lower lip. But instead of kissing him, Thame gently rested his forehead against Poe's. One hand slipped behind Poe's neck as their eyes remained locked. And then, Thame heard it. His heartbeat. Loud. Unsteady. Nothing like the calm rhythm of an ordinary heartbeat. It was the heartbeat of someone in love. Chapter 19. So there was no other way to describe it. It was love. In that brief moment, Thame found himself wondering when these feelings had begun. Was it when P made him question whether he truly wanted to bring the group back together? Or when P decided to help him? Or during all those moments when he worried that June might cause trouble for P? Thame couldn't identify a single beginning. Sometimes, love quietly weaves itself together from threads of friendship, concern, comfort, and care. It's like a virus in its incubation period. You never know exactly when it entered your system, but by the time you realize it's there, it has already grown into something undeniable. Love, whether it begins with a single defining moment or not, it is no less precious for it. Thame looked into Poe's eyes again. He could no longer see Pooh as just a colleague, or merely an ally. He didn't want to put any distance between them, not even an inch. Then Pooh broke the silence. What are you doing? Thame took a small step back. I was just trying to figure something out. Figure something out? Like what? Well, Thame hesitated, suddenly feeling embarrassed. Something. Pooh tilted his head, puzzled. Thame quickly changed the subject, trying to sound casual. Let me walk you home. Pooh smiled and started walking. Thame followed beside him. As they made their way down the quiet street, Thame couldn't stop looking at him. Every time their hands drifted close together, he wanted to reach out and hold Poe's. But he stopped himself. Not yet. Hey, Pepper. Thame came downstairs and found Pepper quietly drinking coffee. I want to ask Pooh to go see a movie. Pepper narrowed his eyes, noticing the 2 movie vouchers in Thame's hand. Is this because of what I told you yesterday? Thame nodded. Yeah, it helped me understand my feelings. Pepper opened his mouth to respond. Before he could, June's voice echoed through the house. Who dragged me into a meeting? You're ruining my morning. Where have you been this early? Dylan asked, cutting him off. Pepper quietly pulled Thame aside while they listened to June explain himself. I've been taking care of Pooh, obviously, June declared with a smug grin. Thame immediately turned toward him. I even volunteered to be the fall guy. I told him to confess to the higher-ups that I was the one behind everything, that I orchestrated the whole Mars reunion. If someone's going to get blamed, it should be me, not him. Besides, Confemica isn't going to punish us anyway. Always plotting something, Dylan remarked dryly. Plotting? Please. I'm the self-sacrificing hero here. A model of noble sacrifice. I'm not sure anyone has ever called you noble. Fi June, Nano said flatly. Then I'll say it myself. All right, enough of that. Pepper clapped his hands, steering the conversation back on track. Let's focus on the plan. We'll finish Dylan's song, release it, and aim for the top of the charts. Once we prove Mars can still succeed, we'll have leverage to negotiate with the company to keep the group together. He looked at Thame and Dylan. You two focus on finishing the song. Once it's ready, pass it to Nano so he can start working on the choreography. As for the music video, not me, June interrupted. I'd rather spend my time figuring out how to outsmart the company. That's way more fun. Fine, Thame said with a smile. But if anyone comes up with ideas for the music video while we're working on the song or choreography, we'll discuss them then. What about you, Pepper? Dylan asked. I'll manage the schedule and make sure everything stays on track, June answered before Pepper could speak. He grinned knowingly. Everyone knew Pepper was the one who always kept Mars organized and solved problems behind the scenes. Fair enough, Dylan said. All right, let's get to work. June stretched. I'm going upstairs. To scheme against the company? Nano teased. To sleep. June answered casually as he headed to his room. I'll head to the studio, Dylan said. Nano, do you want the demo? It's far enough along for you to start thinking about choreography. Sure. The two of them left together. Thame looked down at the schedule Pepper had prepared for him and sighed. It was packed from morning until night. There wasn't a single opening where he could invite Pa to the movies. No time for the movie? Pepper asked. Thame nodded. What should I do, Pepper? Pepper smiled faintly. Instead of answering, he asked, Want to shoot some hoops? It had been a long time since they had played basketball together. The last time might have been before Thame's solo debut. Pepper grabbed a basketball and headed for the court. Thame pulled off his hoodie, leaving only a t-shirt, and followed him. He wasn't sure why Pepper wanted to play now. There was so much work waiting for them, and Pepper still hadn't answered his question about Pa. But once Pepper started dribbling the ball, everything else faded away. They played for 15 minutes. Back then, basketball had always been where they talked through the group's problems. Pepper would tell Thame what each member was thinking or struggling with. Thame would use that information to negotiate with the company and solve whatever issues he could. To Thame, Pepper had always been Mars' vice captain. After the game, Thame sat on the sidelines drinking water. Then he looked at Pepper. Is there someone in the group I should be worried about? Pepper hesitated before answering. Yeah. Who? Thame assumed it would be Nano. Or maybe Dylan. Instead, Pepper's answer caught him completely off guard. Me? Thame stared at him. He could hardly believe what he'd heard. Pepper had never been the one with problems. Not with the group. Not with the company. Actually, Pepper smiled faintly. I came back to help you bring everyone together because I can't stay in Mars anymore. What do you mean you can't stay in Mars? Thame frowned in confusion. Do you remember when I told you to figure out your feelings for Pa? Thame nodded. I wasn't hoping you'd come back and tell me you loved him. Pepper's smile turned bittersweet. Because if you do, he looked Thame straight in the eyes. Then everything we're trying to do here becomes impossible. His words struck Thame like a bolt of lightning. Because you know as well as I do. Pepper held his gaze. Idols aren't allowed to fall in love. Then, at last, Pepper revealed the secret he had been carrying. I can't be an idol anymore because... He took a quiet breath. I already have a boyfriend. Chapter 20. Pepper's partner was Thame, the client behind the Chicken Essence brand that had brought Mars to the camping trip. Their story began during the height of Mars' popularity, around the release of their second album. By then, Pepper had started making a name for himself through variety shows and hosting gigs. One day, he attended an event promoting one of Thame's products. She was beautiful, elegant, captivating. Pepper often found himself stealing glances at her, though he never imagined pursuing anything more. She was a client, after all, and he was still an idol. But in the end, he couldn't resist her quiet confidence and the sincere care she showed him. Whenever they met, she would always ask, Are you tired? Is there anything I can help you with? She never had to. Yet she always went out of her way to make sure he was comfortable. Thame's calm, dependable, and thoughtful nature slowly drew him in. Whether it was because she was older or because she led her own team, there was something about her that made her stand out. After quietly looking into her background, Pepper discovered that she had been single for a long time. Her life revolved around her work, her employees, and her little dog. Pepper started finding excuses to talk to her. He asked about raising dogs, despite not owning one himself. When Mars reached the peak of its success, Pepper tried to distance himself from Thame. He knew a relationship between them wouldn't be good for either of them, but he couldn't do it. When Thame accepted the offer to go to Korea, Pepper felt an unexpected sense of relief. He no longer had to choose between love and his dreams. The dream he'd been chasing was already slipping away. So he chose love. He chose Thame. Together, they began planning a future. Pepper decided to focus on becoming a host, a career where having a public relationship wouldn't draw the same scrutiny or unrealistic expectations. He believed the two of them could finally build a happy life together. But then, Thame came back. He announced that he wanted to reunite Mars and help everyone chase their dreams once more. Pepper thought it was wonderful for everyone else, just not for him. Mars without Pepper wouldn't feel incomplete. Thame was the main vocalist. June was the visual and sub-vocalist. Dylan was the producer and rapper. Nano was the main dancer. Pepper, he was simply the all-rounder. The group could still be complete without him. Back then, I chose Thame because you made the decision for me to leave the group, Pepper admitted. But now I'm choosing Thame because it's what I truly want. He smiled softly. We've been through too much together while you were gone. She's part of my life now. I can't just leave her. Then he looked at Thame. And as for you, he was referring to Pa, you'd better figure out your own feelings soon. If you're going to end things now, there's still time. The bell above the tailor shop door chimed. Pa looked up from his work as Thame stepped inside. Thame felt both nervous and determined. Just a few days earlier, he had come here hoping to understand his feelings for Pa. He'd wanted those feelings to become something that would make Pa smile. Today, he had come with an answer, but for a completely different reason. Pepper was right. Idols weren't supposed to fall in love. That had been the rule from the very beginning. Thame didn't know who had made it. He only knew that if Mars was going to remain perfect, there could be no outsiders in its world. You know about AI, Pepper, don't you? Thame asked as he sat beside Pa. Pa gave a quiet nod without meeting his eyes. Thame noticed that Po's hands were trembling ever so slightly. I came to talk about it, Thame admitted, letting out a slow breath as he tried to meet Po's gaze. Love deserved to be spoken face to face. And if something had to end, that should also be done face to face. It was the least respect he could offer. I came to thank you for everything you've done for me. Pa said nothing. Thame hesitated. The words refused to come. Before he could force them out, Pa quietly interrupted him. Don't say it. His voice shook. Not yet. I have to, Fi. Pa froze and finally looked at him. Thame pressed his lips together. Before he could continue, a tear silently rolled down Po's cheek. Thame's eyes lingered on that single tear. Then he slowly looked away. Finally, he said the words he believed he had to say, for the sake of Mars. Later, Thame met Pepper again on the same basketball court. I heard you talk to Pa, Pepper said. And to Fi came. Yeah. Why? If I'd talked to you first, Thame replied, bouncing the basketball before passing it to Pepper. Nothing would have ended properly. He smiled. So what do you think? Pepper caught the ball. I'm just wondering whether it's really worth it. He shot the ball toward the basket. Your decision. Swish. And what you said about me being important to the group. He retrieved the ball. An all-rounder is supposed to fill every gap, right? If you can't sing, I step in. If Nano can't dance, I do it. If Dylan can't rap, that's my job too. He looked down at the ball. But I'm not that kind of person. For me, Thame replied, being an all-rounder has two meanings. The first is exactly what you described. He smiled. The second is someone who keeps the team together. I'm the leader, but my job is to represent us in front of the company and decide where we're heading. He looked straight at Pepper. The person who's always held everyone together has been you. Pepper, if Mars ever had to choose its true leader, it wouldn't be me. It would be you. I set our goals. You make them happen. Pepper stared quietly at the basketball in his hands. So even if Fi came and I are a ticking time bomb for the group, don't worry. Thame smiled. I've got a ticking time bomb of my own. He hadn't gone to put it tell him it was over. He hadn't been able to. Pepper, you don't have to break up with her. I know you can't. He laughed softly. When I tried to tell Pa I couldn't like him, I couldn't say that either. He smiled. So I've made my decision. We'll keep moving forward like this. Because I believe we can have both. The group and the people we love. They're both parts of our lives. In the end, Thame's decision wasn't about sacrificing someone to protect Mars. It was about moving forward together. Everyone, including Pa. So the only thing Thame said to him was, let's keep moving forward together, no matter what lies ahead. Chapter 21. The night before, after Thame and Pepper had finally talked everything through, Pepper gave Thame some advice on how idols could stay in a relationship without getting caught. The most important rule was simple. Keep your distance. Pepper explained that whenever he and Fi came were out in public, they always stayed at least 5 meters apart. That way, no one would suspect that they were secretly texting each other, exchanging quiet glances from across the room, or leaving little gifts for one another when no one was looking. No one outside their trusted circle of 5 could know anything. Thame found himself thinking about that 5-meter rule whenever he was around Pa. He had never measured the distance between them before. He wasn't even sure what 5 meters really looked like. 500 centimeters. Farther than he was used to. Still, if keeping Pa in his life meant learning to stay that far away, he was willing to do it. Whenever Pa came to the Mars house, Thame quietly adjusted his position, trying to estimate the proper distance. If Pa was in the living room, Thame stayed in the kitchen. If Pa was downstairs, Thame went upstairs. If Pa walked inside, Thame found an excuse to step outside. And so it went. June noticed what was happening almost immediately. Naturally, he couldn't resist making fun of it. Wow, it's so obvious, he said. He doesn't like you at all. He keeps running away. Who asked you? Pa shot back irritably. He hadn't even complained to June about Thame's strange behavior. He still couldn't understand it himself. Thame had been the one who said he wanted Pa to stay by his side. So why was he avoiding him now? I'll help you, June offered with an innocent smile. You want to direct Mars' new music video, right? Nobody's taken that job yet. I sort of volunteered for it by accident. He grinned. Think you can help me? I can't do it by myself. Then why did you volunteer in the first place? Why else? June replied matter-of-factly. For you. So you can get closer to Thame. I don't trust you at all, Pa said flatly. Even so, he couldn't help asking. So what's the first step? Call Thame, obviously. June shrugged. We need to know what kind of song they're making before we can plan the music video. Pa took out his phone and called Thame. The phone rang twice before Thame answered. Before Pa could even say hello, June snatched the phone from his hand. Enyong. June chirped. June. Pa reached for his phone, but June held it well out of reach. I borrowed Po's phone because I wanted to ask about the music video briefing, June said cheerfully. Tell me about the song. We need enough information to plan the MV properly. Pa couldn't hear what Thame said on the other end. June answered with a laugh. Come on. You think I care that much about whatever you and Dylan are cooking up? You know me. Just give us the briefing so Pa and I can make the music video together. He deliberately emphasized the words Pa and I before ending the call. You said you were going to help me get closer to Thame. Pa complained. You didn't even let me talk to him. You're such a scam artist. Fine. June shrugged. I'll admit I'm only half a scam artist. Then he smiled. But I really did volunteer for the music video because of you. He pointed at Pa. Now grab your iPad. It's time to take notes. Pa shot him another glare. Still, no matter how irritating June was, Pa genuinely wanted to help Thame. So he picked up his iPad and began writing. After hanging up, Thame turned toward Dylan, Pepper, and Nano. Did somebody feed June something weird? Pepper wondered aloud. Why is he suddenly so enthusiastic about making a music video? Nano immediately pointed at Dylan. It was you, wasn't it, Fi Dylan? I know you don't like June, but did you really have to poison him? I didn't do anything, Dylan replied. But honestly, what other explanation is there? He probably just wants the directing credit while making Pa do all the work. You're always so negative about June, Pepper said. Then what's your explanation? Dylan challenged. Pepper hesitated. Exactly. Nano pointed triumphantly at Dylan. Dylan wins. Thame, however, had already come up with his own explanation for June's sudden enthusiasm. He pulled out his phone and sent June a message. Meet me at the arcade? The reply came almost immediately. 8 p.m. Chapter 22. Thame stood waiting by the air hockey table. Not long afterward, June arrived and dropped a coin into the slot to start the game. They took their places on opposite sides of the table, ready to play. If you wanted to talk about the MV, couldn't we have just done it at home? June grumbled as he struck the puck. Whatever. I need to blow off some steam anyway. I'm not here to talk about the MV, Thame replied. I'm here to ask why you're doing it. You complain when I don't work, and now you're complaining because I do. Make up your mind. You said you weren't going to take this on before. Why the sudden change? What do you think? June shot back, glaring at Thame. Thame paused, met June's gaze, and voiced the thought that had been on his mind. I think you like FIPA. June froze. The puck Thame had just sent flying slid straight into June's goal, giving Thame the first point. June stared at him, his expression unreadable. What makes you think that? June finally asked. Am I right or not? Thame pressed, refusing to let the subject go. June didn't answer immediately. He picked up the puck that had dropped into the return slot and started the next round. Whether I do or not has nothing to do with you, June muttered. It has everything to do with me, Thame replied at once. How could it possibly have anything to do with you? June shot back. Don't tell me you like him. He narrowed his eyes. Because if what I've seen is your version of liking someone, then I'd really like to know what kind of person treats the person they like that. You keep using him without appreciating what he's capable of. Have you ever once considered letting him direct, when you know that's what he wants? And on top of that, you've been avoiding him almost constantly. What if I've been avoiding him because I do like him? Thame blurted out. What? What if everything you've been criticizing me for is because I don't want to interfere with his work? Because I know how much this project means to him? What if I've been keeping my distance because I'm trying to figure out the right way to approach him, like Pepper did with Thame? Seriously? That's your excuse. June scoffed as he slammed the puck straight into Thame's goal. So tell me, what's bothering you more? My explanation, or the fact that we might both like the same person? Oh, so we're saying it out loud now. June asked sharply. Yes. Thame answered firmly, sliding the puck back toward him. Fine. June struck it even harder, his frustration obvious. Then explain yourself. If you like him, why do you treat him like this? Why is everything always about your life and your work, without ever supporting what he wants to do? I'm trying, Thame said quietly. Then try harder, June snapped. Support him properly. Let him do what he wants. Stop doing everything halfway. Do you really think anyone would believe you like him after the way you've been acting? He drove the puck into Thame's goal again, taking the lead. You seem really angry with me, Thame observed. Oh, trust me. This is nothing. Then tell me everything. June glared at him. And don't think I don't know about those free movie tickets you're planning to give him. What's your plan? Trick him into writing a review. I wasn't going to trick him, Thame said firmly. I was going to take him to see a movie. Oh yeah? When? When I have time. When you have time. June scoffed. Don't make promises you can't keep. Stop giving people false hope. June. Thame said softly as he sent the puck into June's goal, tying the score. Are you ready to admit you like him? Because your anger feels a little too personal. June didn't answer. He remained silent, concentrating on the game. Thame took a deep breath and picked up the puck, but instead of hitting it, he spoke calmly. June, I'm not here to fight with you or compete against you. I came because I want to deal with this honestly. If you like him, then like him. I'm not saying that because I'm going to step aside. I won't. But I want us to agree that this shouldn't ruin our friendship. I'm going to keep liking him, and you can too. In the end, this isn't about us. It's about who he chooses. There's no point in turning this into a competition. June set his striker down and stared at Thame. So you really like him? Of course, Thame answered simply. And you want me to stop being angry? Yes. I'll stop being angry when you start treating him better, June said evenly. Let me tell you something. I'm not angry because I like him. He let out a heavy sigh, the weight of it unmistakable. I'm angry because of the way you're treating him. If you really like him, then stop being such a terrible choice for him. I don't want to watch my friend become a bad boyfriend. Thame stared at June, sensing the lie. June did like puh, but something had made him deny it. Something Thame couldn't quite understand until June spoke again. Because he likes you, Thame. Thame froze, his breath catching in his throat. He had always known that he liked puh, but he had never been certain whether puh felt the same way. Was puh simply kind to everyone, or was there something more? Now, hearing those words from June, everything finally fell into place. June set his striker down, conceding the game. The final score was 3-2, with Thame in the lead. He likes you so much, it's annoying, June muttered. Thame rushed to the suit shop as fast as he could. When he arrived, puh was just locking up. Thame was out of breath, still wearing his hoodie. Puh turned around, startled. What are you doing here? He asked, puzzled. Phi puh. Thame met his eyes, his heart pounding. Instead of blurting out that he knew puh liked him, he stammered. Phi Pepper said he and Phi came keep 5 meters apart, so no one finds out. Puh blinked in confusion. Okay. I've been trying to do the same thing with you, Thame admitted, his voice growing quieter. Puh looked at him, his own voice trembling. Why do we need that kind of distance? Phi puh, Thame said again as he stepped closer. I've been trying to keep that distance from you. I really have. But, he moved even closer, locking eyes with puh. I can't do it. Every time I try to stay 5 meters away, it feels too far. His voice dropped to a whisper. Because with you, even 5 centimeters feels unbearable. Chapter 23. The suit shop was the first place where Thame got to know puh as more than just a coworker. It was there that he discovered a side of puh he had never seen before. In return, puh helped him realize that Mars was still alive. That little 2-story shop house had become a place where Thame's hectic life seemed to slow down. It felt like a sanctuary where he could finally breathe, where time flowed gently enough for him to reconnect with the parts of himself that hadn't been shaped by the demands of the outside world. They were still standing in front of the shop. Thame had just confessed that he couldn't keep 5 meters away from puh. It was impossible. He didn't know whether puh understood what he really meant, but June had already told him that puh liked him. Did you come all the way here just to tell me that? Puh asked curiously. Actually, Thame hesitated. June told me something about you. Puh flinched slightly. What did he say? Was it about the MV? No. Thame shook his head. He said, you like. He paused, trying to gather his courage. Like music a lot. He couldn't bring himself to say the words. You like me? Yes. Exactly. Pa nodded quickly, looking flustered. I really love music. Thinking about the MV is so much fun. He let out a nervous laugh before hurriedly adding. Actually, before you came, June told me he went to the arcade with you. Oh. He said he might have accidentally told you something about me. So? He told me something about you too. Thame already knew what June was talking about, but he pretended not to. What did he tell you about me? Well, Pa hesitated, clearly embarrassed. He said you like. Thame raised an eyebrow. The MV idea? A lot. Oh. Thame chuckled softly. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's great. Right? You haven't seen it yet, Pa replied awkwardly. So, Thame's expression turned serious. What did he really tell you? He said that you, Pa swallowed nervously, would probably come see me here. I remembered that you said you're always at the shop on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays to help Uncle Choi. I also remembered you saying you wanted to watch a movie. Thame reached into his pocket and took out 2 movie tickets. I've had these for a while. I wanted to ask you, but I never had the chance or the time. I'm sorry for not paying enough attention to you before, for not suggesting you direct the MV, and for not supporting you the way I should have. He looked into Poe's eyes, his voice sincere. From now on, if there's anything you want me to do, just tell me. If I do something wrong, you can be angry with me. I'll find a way to make it up to you. For everything I've done that made things harder for you. Thank you, and I'm sorry. I promise I'll do better. Thame smiled gently. Let's start over, okay? Start over? Pa stammered, his face turning bright red. Start what? Start. Pa couldn't get the words out. Panicking, he pointed at the movie tickets. Start with this. I really want to watch this movie today. All right, let's go. Thame said as he started to walk away. Then he glanced down at the tickets and suddenly froze. Wait. What? These tickets have expired. Oh, let's buy new ones. Thame quickly opened a movie app on his phone, only to frown when he saw there were no remaining showtimes. It's Thursday. The new movies must have come out already, so this one's no longer showing. Fine. I'm so sorry, Thame blurted out. It's okay, really. We've both been busy. I just told you I didn't want to disappoint you, and I've already broken that promise. Thame looked genuinely distressed. Hey, it's really not a big deal. This movie was only playing in a special theater anyway, but it's available on streaming now. We can watch it anytime. But I don't want our new beginning to start with expired tickets or me disappointing you. Then let's watch something else. No. Thame shook his head firmly. I want to watch this movie with you. You said it's on streaming, right? Yes. Pa nodded. Thame looked into his eyes and asked softly. Then tonight, can I come over to your place and watch it with you?